Welcome, everyone, to Constructed Chaos, where we run a D&D live stream every Wednesday, and sometimes on Sundays, we rebuild our entire cast of characters in the new D&D rules.
Yeah, we do.
That's what we're doing today, if you haven't guessed already. Thank you all for joining us on a different day than what we normally stream. If you like us streaming more than once a week, let me know. Maybe we can make that happen. Maybe we can work something out together.
Maybe we've already...
Maybe we've already made some plans. Who knows?
Who's to say? There would be no way of knowing.
So before I get into some of the ground rules for what we're going to be doing with these characters and some of the homebrew that we're already going to be running in the new 2024 rules, I do have to shout out our friends over at Tabletop Beard. Woo! As always, even though it's not our normal D&D stream, they are sponsoring the stream. I have the Barbarian Beard oil here yet again, just because it's that good. Also because I forgot to get a different one. I do really like this one, though. I've been using the Barbarian Beard oil alongside the Fighter Beard Butter lately, and Morgan complimented my beard smell the other day.
It was a good combination. I hugged him, and I put my face right in the corner of his beard, and I was like, what is this?
It's some really good stuff. No matter what scent you get, you're going to be happy with it. I guarantee it. Or your money back from Tabletop. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
I don't think they have a money back.
They do have 20% off if you use code CHAOS20 at checkout, and their link is in the description below. Do check them out. I usually get to play D&D with them on every other Sunday, and I'm looking forward to next Sunday. We'll get to play together again. They're a lot of fun guys. We really like them. Not the mushroom kind.
Yeah, I was about to say. Mycelium?
That said, do also check out our friends over at Darkeport. They run a stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Their link is also in the description below, and they are back from a month-long hiatus that they took after Gen Con. I'm excited to watch some more of their streams. And no, we rock too much with the chaos over here. They're very well put together, well produced. So if you're interested in more D&D, you can check them out, and I'm usually in the chat, so we can hang out too. What else do I have? I can't use my laptop today, so I'm having to look off my phone here. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for free to help get it out to more people so that they can learn a little bit more about the 2024 rules with us. And do also enjoy the chat roller that I think I've finally fixed. We'll see how that's working. If you roll tonight, I'm going to go ahead and just say it goes into the pool of resources for our Legacy of the Ashen campaign, which you can check out right here on the channel if you've never seen it before. We do also have a bunch of recaps that'll get you caught up super quick. One that was posted just about a week and a half ago that, I don't know, had some pretty big reveals in it. I was very happy with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's no bean footage today. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it.
You fired me?
You are fired.
Man.
Fired. Get her out of here.
No, you're not fired. He just...
So, the way this is going to work, we're basically going to go around the table and build these characters level by level.
Oh, Graham, thank you.
Grim, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. This isn't even the normal day, but I will make sure to update your points whenever I get a chance. Like I said, I can't use my laptop today, so you will get more points at some point in the future. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. Good to see you in chat. So what we're going to start off doing is basically everyone will select their species, their background, their origin feat, and we're going to do all that and then circle back around for first level, and then second level, and then third level. That way everyone kind of has a chance to look at all the different options, and we can talk specifically to each player about the options they chose and why they did that. Before we start things off with Sam, a couple of little house rules involving the character origins. Now, the 2024 rules are great. I really like what they did to make backgrounds more relevant. However, I find that they are somewhat needlessly restrictive. And so what I have told our group is that we're going to ignore the ability scores and the narrative flavor for each background, instead just paying attention to what they give us in terms of skill proficiencies and origin feat. So basically, you guys can assign your ability score bonuses however you'd like.
Which means in
And-
D&D Beyond, you kind of have to fudge it a little bit, but it's easy
Yeah,
enough.
we'll maybe be able to touch on exactly how we're handling that mechanically.
Hey,
But
I like fudge.
but the narrative flavor, the book actually says you can ignore as well. So we're gonna ignore that. So if maybe Valoth wants the sailor background. I don't think you do.
No,
But if
that's
you-
what Pirate Valoth is for.
Maybe you
He
want a
already
sailor
has that.
background, but you have no
Yeah.
experience in sailing. You can do that just to get the proficiencies and stuff. I think the way they shoehorned it is a little too restrictive. I think the DMG is going to have some
Custom, yeah.
custom options. But anyway, let's get things started. We're going to jump into Valoth's character sheet. Hopefully everyone can see this pretty well over on the screen. I apologize in advance if D&D Beyond is a little glitchy with the new rules. I know they've been working on some stuff.
I am also going to apologize if I'm not as interactive with the chat. I am very good at multitasking, but I can't multitask
Well, especially with
this
first
one.
level, because there's a lot
Yeah,
that we have
it's
to
a
make sure
lot
our characters are
front-loaded.
set up
Yeah.
right with once
Yeah.
we get the ball rolling. I feel
Yeah,
like
like
it'll be-
it might be. We might be
Yeah.
a little quieter when we're setting up this first
Yeah.
level because I am currently rewriting out physically all of my script, my
no.
spells.
It's not working.
It worked for us earlier.
It worked yesterday.
I know.
Oh, it's the rollers, not worried.
Oh,
That's okay.
Oh, I know why.
Is it not?
It's not
I know
on.
why. I'm pretty sure I know why.
I don't know if that's
did you
why.
turn it off and turn it back on again?
Right. Did you take the cartridge out and blow in it?
Ooh.
Sorry, guys.
Sailor, I hardly know her.
Yeah,
Hi,
that's
Sam.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna check this.
This is all gameplay stuff, so we can just drop as many innuendos as we want.
I'll be in your window.
When does gameplay stuff stop us from doing that?
I
already?
know. Well, it restricts us.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't. I
Hopefully,
don't have
hopefully it should start working now.
Oh.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
that a
Yes, one of
D20?
you has to redeem.
It was a D20.
something.
Thank you,
17.
Grim, for the
Yay.
17.
I have a list that auto updates now.
As long as somebody can read me what's over there, I
17.
I gave-
can keep up.
It updates to a list now, so you
Yeah,
don't
so
have
Morgan,
to do
yeah,
that.
Morgan's got that.
It automatic.
I
We
can
did that
give
today.
I can give you access to
That's so cool.
the Dropbox, so you can see the list too.
We're so fancy behind the scenes. You guys
I
don't
told
even
Alex,
know.
I said, I don't want chat to have to be responsible for anything else. So can you make it right to a list? And he did. So now you guys don't have to put your number in the chat.
I
That's cool.
did
It
not.
has perks to be married to the DM, guys.
I did not see that house rule in the chat.
Oh,
What house rule?
About the
I'm
feats
going.
Oh.
you can change it up if you
or the
want.
ability scores.
I know. Now I'm
Brett
I'm
has 14
like,
feats.
you have removed a small little cornerstone of the base of my build. And now I'm like, oh gosh.
Brett is rethinking everything.
Hey, for you, if it helps, it's not a rule that you could use.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
only
does
for
not
us.
help. It does
You
not
have
help.
to do it what it
No.
says.
So, we're starting off with Valoth here. As is normal in the new rules, we start with class rather than background and species, or rather than species, I think is where it started before. You are a wizard. We know this. Your proficiencies we're picking out are going to be Arcana and Investigation.
Yes. Because it used to be something a little bit different, but I swapped it because of the background, which we'll get to. But yeah.
Yeah. Spells, I believe, oddly enough, Wizard is one of the few classes that didn't get a lot of changes, so you may see a lot of things being the same here.
Also for spells, what I did was I just dropped all my first levels because I've copied a lot in my spell book over the session, so I really don't know what I picked at level 1 before. So I just dropped every level 1 spell that I have into my spell book.
Fair enough.
So and the ones that are prepared are the ones that I currently have prepared in the campaign. So that's why that's the way that is.
Those of you overly familiar with 5e may see a new feature here in Ritual Adept. This is actually just, it's not a new feature. It was part of the spellcasting feature before. They just broke it out so it's less confusing. You can cast any spell as a ritual if the spell has the ritual tag, and the spell is in your spell book. You don't have to have the spell prepared, but you must read from the book to cast it this way. A lot of people didn't know that you could use wizards like that before, I find.
That's my favorite way to use it. That's
yeah.
why I'm like, I have identify always.
So that is your class for, and I guess we'll just do level 1 when we do these. Might as well. Your background, you picked Wayfarer, which I actually think is
Fits.
pretty. It fits pretty well. Are you doing that for a narrative flavor specifically?
No, originally I kind of wanted to go away from Lucky because I heard it change, but looking at it, it's not that much of a pain to deal with, so I'm gonna keep it because I had picked up Lucky before. In a later level, I'm just picking it early now. And so the two that get Lucky is either Wayfarer or Merchant, and I just picked Wayfarer because it seemed to fit better.
It does definitely fit better, even if we're kind of ignoring the narrative flavor of it.
I mean, the main thing is now I have proficiency in Thieves' Tools, which I didn't before, but that's really the only...
You also get proficiency in Insight and Stealth.
I didn't have Stealth before, but so previously in my class I had picked Insight, so I just swapped Insight for one of the other ones that I picked in my class.
But yeah, if you guys are interested in the new Lucky feat, it is here. It did get a downgrade because you have to choose whether you're going to spend your luck point before you roll, but it gives you advantage on any D20 test, and it also ties to your proficiency bonus. So later in the game, like we are, you'll actually get more uses of it than you did before when you only got 3.
Yeah, so I mean, even though it's a little downgraded because you have to choose before and it's advantage instead of just like straight up reroll. Because before, if you had advantage or disadvantage, you could use it and get a third roll, presumably, right? Now you can use it to remove disadvantage, which is kind of nice, but yeah.
And then your ability scores. I know we said we're basically going to obviously a wizard does not care about dexterity or charisma. Basically what we're doing on the back end is just assigning these because D&D Beyond does not give you the option to just assign them as you want. And then when we get to our abilities later, we're just changing the math.
And originally I had picked intelligence and dexterity, intelligence 2, dexterity 1, because in case I do whack as bonkus anybody, wizards do use their dex.
That's fair.
So that's why I did that.
Yeah. I think everything else is pretty much the same here. We don't need to go over character details or physical traits or anything like that.
No.
Your species, however, is an older species from the Spelljammer books.
Yes. But in the new rules, they let me pick a language for it. Before, I didn't get a language.
Yeah.
So that meant that I had to pick Elvish in a different way. Now I just picked Elvish here because it just makes sense that as an astral elf, you would know Elvish.
You would have it.
Yeah. So I just picked that there. But that is interesting that they added language choice to those older species.
And they did a pretty good job here. I think some of the backwards compatibility is a little clunky, but most of it is really good. I think that just the fact that you're able to use these old species and you're not just limited to the 10 in the book is really nice. Especially if you're like us and you were already playing in a campaign and trying to move your character over.
I did just now think of a question for you though about the languages. I don't think I'm going to be able to get all the same languages I had before with the way that this is set up. Is Valo going to like forget languages, or are we going to homebrew that he just still knows the ones that he
That is a good question. DM wise, I kind of feel like we may need to figure that out once we get to the end of the build.
Okay.
Like, because if it's one language, I'll be like, yeah, you can have an extra.
No.
language.
Well,
You
most
lose
of
a
the
lot.
most of the
You lose
ones
a lot.
most of the ones that he knows are ones that we haven't come across before, like Primordial and Abyssal.
Yeah. So maybe that
those will be the ones you lose.
that might not matter.
Because my old background was
They also
Haunted
common.
One, which
I said
gave
they're
me
so
2
common.
languages, I
Yeah.
believe, from that.
I would like
everybody speaks
specifically
those.
because I would like for this rebuild to be sort of a new ground zero for
Okay,
us,
yeah.
where we are just building in accordance to the rules with some slight tweaks to the overall base of it. I don't want to make too many exceptions, but as DM and as other DMs out there, it could be a good idea to work these sort of things into the narrative. So like you said, you never really used either of those 2 languages,
I cast Mind Whip a lot and got dumb in the last session.
but it might become a thing
Yeah.
where maybe later on you find a book that allows you an extra language proficiency or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's easy enough to build that sort of thing into the narrative because as the DM, you can do anything. That's something I like to remind people of a lot because I abuse that.
Yeah. Sorry, and I just remembered it when we were talking about languages that I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna have as many.
No worries. Abilities. We are doing our rolled scores from before, and I guess you probably changed your stuff
I
in
fudged.
here, or you
I
haven't yet.
did.
Okay.
What, is it not showing?
It might not be, but it's fine. Oh, I see your 18 intelligence and stuff, so.
Yeah, so it was 16 is what I rolled for intelligence, but we mentioned with the whole background stuff, I put 2 points into charisma, so I took 2 points out and put them into intelligence manually
Perfect.
to get that.
Okay. Well then, in that case, we can now go to
Drazad.
Drazad.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I am rethinking everything now.
You skip over. And
Don't mind all my campaigns here, guys.
Yeah, right. With 8 characters in it.
Oh my god, there's so many people in here. All right, is it Drazadi? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, Drazadi's the test.
What if I just claimed your character and stole him from you?
Mine.
I'd be so upset.
So once again, at level 1,
Yep.
we are now looking at Drazad.
Yes.
Obviously, he is a cleric. He is the cleric.
The cleric.
The
war cleric, but not really.
Cleric did actually receive quite a few changes, but I don't think we'll see many of those at level 1. As per usual, you're going to get your skill proficiencies. You chose medicine and history, which I think
Yes.
makes a lot of sense.
Well, and I also specifically chose those because, not to skip ahead, but my background's acolyte, which gives me insight and religion already.
So
Yeah.
that kind of completes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those are, like how you said, those are your original. Those were my 2 original. And then I was like, well, there's no point if I have a background. And yeah.
And that does kind of bring up one common complaint that I've heard from some people, especially in my comments sections. They've mentioned that there is some back and forth flipping in the player's handbook, the way it's laid out now. Mm-hmm. I do like the layout better than the old one, and I think it's unavoidable that you're going to have to flip back and forth between things. But because backgrounds come after your class selection, a lot of the time your proficiencies from those backgrounds overlap, and you have to go back
and change it. Yeah.
Reselect your class proficiencies. Not a big deal, but something to be aware of whenever you are picking out those proficiencies. You may even want to just hold off on doing them until you do your background.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, the spell stuff I believe is the same. I don't think the spell list changed at all, or the number of spell slots you get changed at all.
No, none of that changed. And even like going to level 9 where we are now, I still have 14 that I'm able to know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
One thing that did change is the divine order. Basically, you can pick one or the other at first level. Looks like you've chosen Protector, which gives you proficiency in martial weapons and training in heavy armor, because clerics do not get heavy armor as a base anymore.
Right.
You have to choose this if you want heavy armor.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah, me too. One, I found I don't know. I found Thaumaturge just kind of
And I'll pull that up. I'm not going to leave it changed. I'm just going to pull that up. So, oh, well,
I keep what?
I broke it.
Well, and while he fixes that, and to speak on thaumaturgy, it is a little lacking, and it does rely a lot on, hey, DM,
No.
can I do this? Which
It's
makes
D&D
you not
Beyond.
want to use it.
Well, and it will
Because it's very
just do
vague, and it's,
You know, one extra cantrip from the cleric spell list. In addition, your mystical connection to the divine gives you a bonus to your intelligence checks. The bonus equals your wisdom modifier, which for me would be good because my wisdom is so high.
Yeah. But
Don't really see a whole lot of dealing with intelligence for the most part.
yeah.
Oh god, I got to scroll all the way back to the top.
D&D Beyond is just shot right
Oh,
now.
it's. I mean, they're going through it,
Well, I
no
have
doubt.
my character sheet pulled up too, so that might be freaking it out too.
He might have changed something while you were looking at it.
Wi-Fi?
I tried to, and it got upset with me. So now I know not to do that.
That might have been me too, because I was switching to Thaumaturge so I could read it as.
Yeah, no worries. So I think that's it for your spell, your class features. We did forget to look at spells for Valoth, but we'll look at them.
Well,
after.
like I said, it's
spells
spelled
are
like I
good.
mentioned. I literally just picked all the first level ones that I could have had,
Yeah.
and I don't get second level, so we can look at them when we circle back around.
I'm kind of at a
Second,
glance
yeah.
just looking at these to see if there are any that I remember changed a whole lot in the rules. And I guess you hadn't selected any yet, huh?
No, that's what I was about to ask if you
Okay.
wanted me to go in and do spells real quick. Because
We'll do spells on the second level then.
Okay.
We don't have to do spells every time. I think
I
that
was
would be a
truly
lot.
just gonna like.
And
for
clerics
now anyway,
get all,
copy.
so it's
And so you mentioned the acolyte background.
Yes.
You chose insight and religion to kind of complete the package of skill proficiencies. You do have calligrapher's supplies now. Did you have that before?
No.
I can't remember. I know you had smith's tools, obviously.
No, I didn't have calligrapher supplies, but remember, I also did not have a background selected these last 9 levels.
Which is a fun thing to note.
Yeah.
When we were getting ready to do this, I popped into Caleb's character sheet for Drazad, and I was like, why does he only have 2 skill proficiencies?
Oh, dude, and Brett's over here with like 50. And so
Yeah,
you
well, after I went in and did it,
yeah,
I had like 5 or 6 of them. Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I earned all those skill.
No, I'm just saying, like, you
proficiencies,
gamed it to get all of them, and he gamed it to get none. He was playing it on hard
It's
mode.
a balance. It's a balance.
with the Acolyte background, you get the Magic Initiate feat.
Yes.
Specifically, the Magic Initiate feat now is broken out into separate feats for sort of the main spellcasting classes. This one, I think, gives you Cleric, right? It's the Cleric Magic Initiate feat.
Or do you pick?
It. Where I pick what?
Yeah.
No, I said, or do you pick which class with that?
Yeah, look, it's you learn 2 cantrips
From the
of your
cleric
choice
spell
from
list.
the
Yeah,
cleric
okay,
spell
okay,
list.
okay.
Um,
I didn't know if there was a feat called Cleric Magic Initiate. Like there's the
Wizard.
Initiate. Or what is
Magic
it called?
Initiate?
Magic Initiate. And they have
Yeah.
to print. That's what I was thinking it was.
this is,
My bad.
I mean, it is the same feat.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that feat exists outside of Origin feats anymore,
Oh.
unless
okay.
you are
You can take
using old feats.
You can
Can
take
you?
origins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it doesn't exist outside of that. Like
You-
so regular Magic Initiate, like we once knew it, doesn't exist. It's now.
Oh yeah, it is
So
an
just the
origin
origin.
feed, and it's a little bit boiled down.
Yeah.
Because it's an origin feed.
Nice.
Yeah.
What I will say is important to note about this, aside from the fact that you're, picking your spells, is the fact that when you choose your level 1 spell, you can cast it once without using a spell slot per long rest.
Mm-hmm.
And with the new how many spells you can cast per turn rule, this actually works so you can cast more than 1 leveled spell in a turn.
Yeah.
The old rule basically said if you cast a leveled spell with your bonus action, you can't use your action to cast a leveled spell. It's really silly and it was convoluted and a lot of people misunderstood it, so they changed it. Now it is you can only cast a leveled spell using a spell slot once per turn. Plain and simple,
Which I like.
but because this doesn't use a spell slot,
Oh yeah, you can
You can
use.
use it.
You
yeah,
can-
Yeah.
you
If
can-
it's a bonus action or.
so in your
whatever.
case, you could
No one-
cure wounds and
Like
Yeah.
now I'll
cast
be able
another
to
spell.
Misty Step
Yeah.
2 of us on the same turn because I could cast one as a spell,
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good.
One
and
as a
then
yeah.
one as a other thing.
You took magic initiative with Acolyte.
well,
Yes.
it
What was
comes
it?
with it.
What was your spell?
Cure wounds.
All right,
He-
let me pick 3: Sacred Flame, Spare the Dying, and Cure Wounds.
Don't you
Some
get cure
cantrips.
wounds?
He does, but it's only cleric. That's the only thing you can choose from.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah,
it doesn't
Yeah,
let you grab from
cantrips.
anything.
That's what I'm
level
saying.
ones.
They're broken
Yeah.
into Magic Initiate Cleric, Magic Initiate Wizard, and Magic
gotcha,
Initiate
gotcha.
Druid.
Yeah, it is.
I
My
think-
bad, I had a stroke.
So
'Cause
instead
if
of
I-
having them in all spellcasters, it's just those three now.
and-
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I take it as a bard, I get to pick which one I want.
Yeah.
That's
More or
what
less.
when you said when you threw the thing earlier, and you were like, we don't care about where you put your. The reason I didn't take magic initiate is because I couldn't
Proficiencies weren't
put
great.
anything in charisma, and I was like,
Oh right.
oh no.
Yeah.
But then if
So it's
I-
a boon to you then. Is what
having
yeah.
those 3 because those 3 are not in my realm already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I could be like, oh, wizard, I take find familiar and like 2. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Great spell.
Yeah, exactly. So I was about to say,
And
where's,
we'll get
where's your
some more
familiar design?
fine familiar stuff in just a second
Yeah.
because there is something pertinent that happened with that.
I was
but
like, that's not in my list.
I see you selected your charisma and wisdom. I imagine that's probably just what you wanted anyway, or are you changing it on the back end as well?
No, that charisma and wisdom were the ones that I wanted.
And so that works out.
Yeah.
Perfect. Species, however,
Your boy?
did change a lot.
Get fucked.
We kind of got a lot of things brought over from the Fizzbands Dragonborn, if you guys are familiar with that. A lot of the changes I really liked, and then they didn't reprint it in the playtests, I think. So a lot of people were upset. It looks like they did a good job of walking a lot of that back. So One of the biggest things I've found is with the breath weapon. In the old player's handbook, it used to take an entire action to do.
Yeah.
Now, when you take the attack action, you can replace one of the attacks with this, and you can choose either a 15-foot cone or a 30-foot line that's 5 foot wide as the shape for it. Additionally, it does a D10 of damage and scales pretty nicely as you level, as opposed to before, I think it was like a D8, and I don't even know if it did scale. It might
Wait,
have.
hold on, I can tell you.
In either case, it's a lot better now. This is the Dragonborn that she tells you not to worry about.
It was 2d6.
Yeah. So in 2d6, I guess is better, but it probably didn't scale all that well, did it?
No, because it was 2d6, then 3d6 at 6th,
Yeah.
4d6 at 11th.
I'd
and
rather
5d6
this
at
version,
16th.
especially for higher levels, just because you're getting a much like by level 5, it's already
It's
better.
already 2d10. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, just to be able to, like, the choice between a cone and a line, honestly, is like,
It's a huge difference.
yeah, because it's part of the reason I haven't used breath weapon like a whole lot in the campaign is because getting enemies in a single line, especially like
Yeah.
trying to avoid like anybody else that you don't want to hurt, is like pretty difficult. Not that a cone isn't, but like if I have 3 people coming at me from different directions and then like Flora's behind one of them, like more
Yeah.
than likely I don't have to worry about Flora if I can space myself right, you know?
Exactly.
A
I love
15-foot
that they
cone
changed
is
this.
much more manageable.
Oh, yeah.
30-foot
for like
line.
friendly
Yeah.
for friendly fire reasons, right?
Well, and you can hit more things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends on how they're lined up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends
It's
on
not
yeah.
redeeming.
What?
It's not redeeming.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know why it's doing that.
We'll figure
This
it out.
is unacceptable. Everybody's
Beep
fired.
boop.
I just
I'll
feel
click
like
it
enemies
on
are
my end.
less likely to be
Sorry,
lined
guys.
up than they are to be grouped up.
Is it recording?
Is why I
now?
say you can hit more.
Yeah, it
things.
is.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that aside, before we move on, I actually homebrewed this for your breath weapon, sort of within the story because I liked it so much.
Yes.
Where I let you kind of swap out your an attack for a use of your breath weapon. So I'm glad to see it made it in here. But you guys may also see a couple more things that Dragonborn get now that they didn't have before, namely dark vision.
I can see.
They finally have
God.
dark
Yeah.
vision.
No laser light tongue. No laser light tongue anymore.
They do also get Draconic Flight, which kind of gives you some cool things to look forward to as you level. It comes online at level 5, and as a bonus action allows you to sprout spectral wings for 10 minutes.
Yeah, boy.
We can
Yeah.
fly
together. Yeah.
Through the sky.
Yeah.
And then we'll pop over to abilities, like I said. We're just using rolled. And I think that's it. So,
Yeah.
Otter, you ready? Or Flora, do you want to go next?
I'm good now. I think I know what I'm doing now.
Okay. Then let me pull that up.
I reserve the right to completely destroy this character later. as my anxieties just creep in from all sides and crush me.
I don't know if you guys know this about Brett. He appears to be chaos incarnate on the stream, but when it comes to character builds, he is like the most premeditated person that I know.
Yeah.
He comes
In the most chaotic way, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah.
In our last stream, there were like 4 different odds
Hey, that's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
campaign.
Yeah.
And so when I was balancing encounters, I was balancing them like way off of what they should have been. We caught it before it was too late, but
So,
I get channel divinity. That's it.
so you are starting in Warlock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
we don't get species bonuses for.
It's now tied to your background.
Yeah.
And that's where you can
They
choose
took
anything
all
for
that
the
away.
background to fit it wherever.
But I did see like for
Whatever
yeah.
you had for species, you can just make that work for your background. Though,
Right.
Because Alex said we can put your backgrounds wherever you want.
Yeah. So once again, basically, even though the backgrounds are kind of restrictive and they say you can only assign your boosts to these 3 scores, I fucking hate that.
Well,
So
but I want those and
oh, no. I don't feel bad anymore.
no.
Greedy.
because right now with the feat that increased all the things, if I take it away from wisdom, my wisdom score isn't what it was before.
Yes, but we had stuff to level up to 9, so you might end up getting there.
Oh
You
yeah.
get- yeah.
All the feats now give you a +1 to something. Well, all the feats that aren't
All the
origin
new
feats.
feats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll probably get that back. I wouldn't be surprised if you actually had a higher score. We'll see.
Okay.
Unless you were 20, and then in which
I
case you
am
won't.
20.
I will say, whenever I did a test and leveled mine up to 9, my AC went from a 19 to a 20 now. And I
Oh,
have
damn it.
No idea why. No idea.
Anyway,
Sorry
Speaking
for
of,
taking
my
over.
AC will no longer be doing any of that stuff.
yay! Oh, no!
But y'all's AC will be doing that
Perfect.
stuff now.
Oh.
First ever martial wizard. Here we come.
So, for those
I'll
of
go in
you
first.
who are unaware, and actually, if you're curious, the old character sheet is still there for all these characters. It's
Yeah, we
in the
have it
description
written
if you want to check it out. I left it that way just in case you wanted to see where we're coming from. But Odd is one of the few characters at this table, I think the only character, that is actually changing their subclass
Yes.
with this build. So, originally you were a swords bard, and the second you saw the Valor Bard, you texted me and told me you were changing, and there was no question.
It would definitely be different play, but I think I'm going to like the different play. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that all comes on at level 3 anyway, so we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you won't get it until a little later because we're starting in Warlock.
Yeah, just like the other one.
And that got some changes. You're not going to get your subclass at level 1 anymore.
That is correct.
But as always, you are going to get your spell casting, your skill proficiencies. You picked deception and investigation. Did you have investigation before?
I did.
He had almost every skill before.
It was sick. Yeah, between the background, yeah, I had a lot of them. So between the multi-class and then the background, like, what are there, 22 skills or something?
You had like 3 dots that didn't have anything.
I
on it.
had 3 dots that.
I think there's 18 skills or 17 maybe.
Okay,
I can't
there
remember how
was
many.
like 4 skills I was not proficient in.
proficient or expertise. You had expertise in some of them.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
then
and
all of them
those
had
you have Jack of
all
Trades.
trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
Yeah.
with this level, you guys may notice that warlocks now get their eldritch invocations at level 1, and specifically the old packed boon options that they used to get at level 2 or 3. No, it was 3.
3.
Now comes online as invocations, and you're taking Pact of the Blade, which is, in my opinion, unequivocally the best invocation in the game because of how much it gives you. If you're building a character like this, I think. Basically, it gives you it kind of mutilates and chops up the Hexblade Warlock specifically, and gives you some of those features in an invocation. I know you specifically wanted to use it because it allows you to use your weapon as a spellcasting focus.
Correct.
Which even Hexblade Warlock didn't allow you to do before.
Right. And then another big thing too is the old Hexblade, you only could use a one-handed weapon until you got like another evocation. They've done away with that.
Oh, cool.
So now from the get-go, if I want to turn that weapon into a two-handed weapon, you can go ham with that. Like,
Nice.
if there's like a field full of fodder, you're like, I don't need the shield. I'll just pick it up. Like,
And did it always allow you to change the damage of your weapon?
no, that's new.
Yeah, that's
as
new
well.
too. That's very, very
Yeah.
useful, especially with psychic damage being one of the damage types.
Yeah.
That's very good. We won't dwell on that for too long. Obviously, you get your Pact Magic too. A lot of people were expecting Warlocks to change somewhat on this front, but they really didn't. You're still only going to get a limited number of spell slots, and they do still come back on a short rest. You will still get, your Warlock cantrips. Eldritch Blast is still probably the best one. However, I do want to mention the other invocations they have that specify improving upon Warlock cantrips. No longer specify Eldritch Blast specifically. It can apply to any of them.
Right.
Eldritch Blast is probably still the best one to use, but if you want to be more flavorful and tie it to Ray of Frost or something, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, for spells, I'm going to go ahead, like you said, Eldritch Blast, and I also took Mage Hand.
Nice.
And Arma Agathis, Holy but Goody. But
And it changed.
yeah,
It's better.
And yeah. And it's actually going to work with this build better later. You'll see.
Yeah.
Oh no! For Hippery 10 points.
Yeah, for temporary.
Temporary
It's not even that. It's
Temporary
not
hit
even
points.
that.
Yeah.
No, it is temporary tip points for this. But because we no longer have the Hexblade subclass, shield's no longer an option. So I took Hellish Rebuke instead.
Oh, cool.
Because now I'm
Makes sense.
moving away from the old build. We'll have less things to do with my reaction.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Specifically, I mentioned Armor of Agathis did change, and I think it's better. We kind of discovered this in one of our other campaigns that Morgan was running, where it basically says that it ends early if you have no temporary hit points. So if you have a way to give yourself more temporary hit points and replace them,
anything,
you technically never drop to no temporary hit points. Talk to your DM about that just in case, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I don't think it changed the amount of damage because that's linked to the spell level. But yeah,
you could
have it for
keep
longer.
for longer.
Yeah. It's very, very cool, especially if you have access to spells like Polymorph or something, right? They give you just a crap ton of temp HP.
Is Polymorph temp HP now?
Yes, it is.
yeah.
So you couple that with like Polymorph.
So is
The
Wild
shapes. I knew wild shapes.
We'll get
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
It's a little worse.
I didn't know Polymorph
Can I
was
cast
like
it on her?
Yeah.
No,
It's around you.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
That's a no. But let's move on to your background. You picked Entertainer, which I think makes the most sense for you. You probably just kept everything it gives you. But Acrobatics and Performance makes sense for Odd. You have your hand drum, musical instrument proficiency. And you get
a bunch of other musical
Oh,
proficiencies.
musician gives you a bunch. I actually
It
didn't know
gives
that.
you 3.
Yeah.
I mostly was
And
looking
then
at
Bard
musician
gives you
as
3, so I can.
You're a one-man band.
Yeah, the whole thing. I know how to play all of them. And I specifically picked archetype instruments that are like, this is a string instrument, so it's gonna make sense. Like I can play any string instrument.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and like drum and percussion, and like all the different, so and a horn. So.
The real cool thing is that I think musician might actually be the best origin feat available. It seems pretty innocuous just from the name and the fact that I guess bards in the past have been kind of jokey and silly, but the fact that you are able to give your allies heroic inspiration, basically anytime you finish a short or long rest, is really, really good. If you don't know, heroic inspiration basically says you can re-roll one roll. It's not a D20 test. It's any roll. It could be a damage roll. It could be a saving throw.
It's a free advantage.
Yeah,
Whatever you
it could
want.
be a wild magic roll.
Ooh.
Yeah, it could be anything. And so the fact that you can give that to basically the whole party once your proficiency bonus is high enough is just kind of nuts. It's like bardic inspiration on crack.
Yeah. I have a question about that. Does it work? And I'm not sure about the rules, the new rules for heroic, but does it work for things that are happening to you? Like if you get critted on?
I don't think you can affect
the way
those
lucky.
rolls.
Oh, actually, I think heroic inspiration does. Let me double check that because I'm not positive.
Well, I know they fixed lucky to where you
Wait, somebody earlier said
Where that
heroic
was a house
inspiration
rule?
better.
Lucky's advantage and disadvantage now, so you can impose disadvantage on somebody
Correct.
else or give yourself.
So I didn't know if
advantage.
heroic works the same way.
Trying to remember where heroic inspiration is
Jeez.
in the book.
You could search
Is it under D20 tests? I feel like it would be.
Leotis Chiron earlier said heroic inspiration is way more powerful than in some ways than luck, since you can use that after.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Absolutely, it is.
No, they nerf luck. Luck
Yeah.
happens. You got to
Here it is.
decide
They did-
before
I
now.
was like, wait, somebody said heroic inspiration in
Yeah.
the chat earlier. Hold
Yeah.
on.
You
Let
gotta
me go
decide
find it.
before, but I'm happy with it. I was happy enough with it
heroic
to take
inspiration.
And
You
wow,
did end up taking lucky.
did end
You
up taking one,
you can't use it on someone else.
Okay,
but
so it's
basically,
only
if
on
you, a
a
player
role you
character,
control, yeah.
have heroic inspiration, you can expend it to re-roll any die immediately after after rolling it, which is interesting because I mentioned wild magic, and if you roll a hang on,
something bad.
wait, if you roll a giant D100 ball, you can re-roll that. But
Yeah.
if you roll a 2D10s, you can only re-roll one of them.
I think you would reroll
I
both.
think you would reroll both.
Technically, 2d10s is
It
one
is
d100.
Yeah.
I was I would point out something
just
funny.
pick
No, but that is funny because say you hit the 10s that you want and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like the single digit. Let me just
Yeah.
re-roll that one. Yeah.
You're at 91%, and you're like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
guys want some extra fun in your campaigns, do it that way. It would be pretty interesting.
I'm gonna make your players spicy.
Let me jump back to odd now. as sorry, I have to navigate this guy this way because I didn't want the tabs on the screen. It was bugging me as an artist. But you guys get to see behind the scenes on all my campaign stuff as I scroll through here. So that's pretty much your background here. Your ability scores, I think you probably just picked what you wanted because I think the entertainer background probably gave you what you wanted.
It did.
Your species is ASMR, which did change somewhat. I think a lot of it's the same.
So the big change to ASMR, everything stayed the same as far as like the resistance that you had, the mini lay on hands, the dark vision, the being able to cast light on things as a cantrip, although it's not going to matter anymore.
I can see.
The big change that came is previously ASMR was broken out into 3 different types of ASMRs. There was a protector and 2 other guys who nobody cared about.
Yeah.
But the other ones. But they each had a special thing that they could do, like an activated ability that got stronger as they leveled up. Now they've combined all 3 of them into one, and when you activate that ability, you now get to decide what you're going to do. And it's the thing I've been doing where I add radiant damage and get wings.
Yeah.
Or they have another cool one where you just shoot eye lasers and mouth lasers out. And like anything around you is taking radiant damage every turn.
It's like Aang from Avatar: The Airbender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or the third
I was
thing.
thinking of vision.
Full
Oh, yeah,
spirit.
yeah.
Or the third thing you could do is you kind of emit a darkness from you and instill fear every turn in your enemies around you. And so 3 very powerful things.
And it's a bonus action to do
And
now.
it's a bonus
It used to be an
action now.
action, so now you don't have to waste a setup turn if you're a martial build like what you're going for.
Exactly.
So really cool changes here. Fully support the new ASMR. I'm very happy with it, even if some people pronounce it ASMR, and I like to say it the other way.
I say it the wrong way every time on purpose, just because.
So I think
Good old
now
Marty.
it's time
Yeah.
for
Just
a little Flora action.
artificer.
Me.
Good old-
Okay.
Let me jump over to
Oh,
you
go
here.
do level 2 stuff now.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I don't think it's much. not
and
many
yours
things to
is
level two.
already in the
Flora
campaign.
2.0,
Yeah, it will be
baby.
There she is. Yeah. So you're in a different spot.
I'm okay. He'll just move me around the initiative again.
Sorry, D&D Beyond
It's
is
real slow today.
Yeah, lots of
thinking
people on
about it.
D&D Beyond today. Maybe it's some of you. Who knows?
Yeah, building characters.
Get off!
Heck
No, just
yeah.
kidding. Just kidding.
No.
Tell us how we can break our characters while we're building it. And Alex
Yeah.
still hasn't locked us
Can
into
you
what we've
guys stop
decided.
DDoSing wizards?
I don't know what a yarding is, but I'm going to be able to play it.
So, Druid's got a lot of changes too here. Some of them I actually don't like. Some of them I do. Kind of a mixed bag, but we'll start off with the fact that you know, just as per usual, you'll get your proficiencies. You may notice that just like clerics, they lost an armor proficiency, and you'll see a very similar change a little bit later on. They no longer have their medium armor proficiency, but you can wear metal armor now. It's not part of the rules that you can't, which I always thought was silly, and I
Oh,
ignored
yeah,
it
you
anyway.
had to wear natural armor.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they got rid of that.
They're
It's
like
not in there
friends
anymore.
of nature.
Which to me feels like, in some cases, that might be like, yes, I hunt and use every part of the animal. In other cases, it might be like, I don't kill animals. So then, like, you wouldn't want to wear leathers.
Yeah.
I believe that druids
Do a vegan leather.
get slightly less spells prepared based on how that works out, but I think you might get more spell slots. I'm not positive on that. Don't quote me. I when I play casters, I usually just skip the entire like spell casting session because I'm like too long, didn't read, and go
It's
straight
so-
into picking spells. It's a lot.
so much, yeah.
You do still get druidic. I'm not sure if the DC for deciphering or recognizing
can
druidic
check.
before was there.
I don't know.
But it is there now. And then the other thing at first order, which is new, is your first level is primal order.
Yeah.
You basically get to pick either magician, which is what you picked.
Druidic did have a intelligence.
Okay, so it's the same.
Yeah. same.
you picked Magician, which basically says one extra druid cantrip, and in addition, your
Intelligence checks go up.
yeah, basically the bonus equals your wisdom modifier, but specifically you pick either Arcana or Nature.
Yep.
Which I'm so glad for. I wish this was something that was on every druid. However, it makes sense that druids now have access to higher nature. Before, it was not only possible, but very common for druids to have terrible nature proficiency.
Yeah, I had nothing. in
Makes
it for a
no
while.
sense. I almost kind of feel like nature should have been moved to a wisdom proficiency. I kind of understand why they didn't, because then it would become the god stat for skill proficiencies.
It is not letting me select Arcana or Nature though.
Okay,
So
that might be a bug on D&D Beyond. We'll
Probably
let
have
them
to go
sort that
Do
out.
you wait? Do you have them already? Because that gives you expertise, right?
No, it doesn't give
no,
me expertise.
it-
It gives me
Oh.
a bonus.
It gives you a bonus
Select
equal to your wisdom modifier.
Arcana or
But it's not letting you
Nature.
select. Does it say
Yeah.
that you have to have it as a proficiency already or something? No. Okay.
The other one that you can pick gives you access to some extra weapon proficiencies and your medium armor proficiency. So if you want that medium armor proficiency, you do have to sacrifice your magician selection. I think that's kind of silly. We actually talked about a little conflict we had where Flora had some medium armor that we had made by default.
But
medium armor?
Yes, but I would have not made it as medium armor.
Yeah,
if
we
I
didn't.
didn't
It was
have
some
medium
homebrew armor. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was homebrew. We made it.
Yeah.
I paid for it. I'm not losing it.
Exactly.
So.
We didn't care too much about the
Like
fact that we're just changing
flavor.
Like Flora
it to
paid
light.
for it, or you paid to make the?
No, Flora paid
Oh,
for it.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you like paid to have. Like, I was like,
Me too.
How does that work?
For the record, we did get the armor illustrated. It's like carapace armor, and it's mostly just like the very top of a chest plate, a pauldron, and then a bunch of cave fisher silk.
It's
so
so
it
that
really should be light armor.
Yeah, and it's so
I
that she can
think.
be a
Yeah.
bugbear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that said, let's take a look at
Wait,
your.
someone said we could just multi-class with the 2024 druid, the 2014 druid.
Get them both.
Best of both worlds.
Honestly, if that were the case, I might just play the old druid, but I'm not entirely sure. Some people might take issue with that statement, but I just loved the old wild shape
No,
and what it did.
Oh, I want the old wall shape rules
Yeah.
as a bonus action.
Yeah. That would be too much,
Nice.
but yeah. So let's take a look at your background. You pick the guide background, which once again is very flavorful for your character. You have stealth proficiency now, which I'm not sure you had before.
I did.
You selected nature as a proficiency.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't have proficiency. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I selected nature, so I finally got that nature proficiency.
Hell yeah. And that plus your wisdom bonus, you will not be failing nature checks as a druid anymore,
Yeah.
which
Hopefully not.
Not
do
if
not
chat
get me
has anything to
started.
say about it.
You went ahead and grabbed Magic Initiate, which I'm sure is the druid version. Yes. I won't mention much else here other than the fact that just like the cleric, this will allow you to cast 2 spells in one turn, basically.
Yes, but something very important.
Mhm.
Flora finally has message.
Yes, she does.
Yes,
There it is.
message.
Right whenever we get to the level that you can, that he
Rari's
can, like,
telepathic
he can
bond.
do
I haven't had it the whole time. I could have had it at level 1.
retcon it back for all those times I was
All
out of
those
the conversation.
times.
And I did notice you
I love
We're
also,
it.
just ignoring
I
her.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys like, I message. I have message too.
Me too.
And then we're just like, hey, what's going on over there?
What are you doing?
Actually, the funny thing is now, like I'm building the exact same way, but the way the spells are set up, I don't have a message now.
Flora's gonna be like, hey, Odd.
Yeah.
Hey, Odd.
Yeah.
Hey, Odd.
Something happened in Valo did something messed up the timeline.
Oh, no. Because you keep stealing shit.
I did notice that you also picked
Yeah,
the
slowly
resistance cantrip.
Yep.
I think either that's a new one or it got completely changed to be useful now.
Yeah, I think it's new.
Yeah, I read over this whenever I looked through the player's handbook initially, and I haven't taken a close look at it. But my initial understanding is that it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do.
It gives me, I can touch a willing creature and choose either acid, bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, necrotic, piercing, poison, radiant, slashing, or thunder.
So like
when
all the damage
creature
types.
One.
How
of.
long does it last?
No, but
Yeah.
of any of them, basically.
When the creature takes damage of the chosen type before the spell ends, the creature reduces the total damage by 1d4.
Oh,
So it's
see,
like
that's-
pseudo resistance.
Well,
not
that's
quite,
better.
but
Well,
yeah.
because the original resistance, because it was
You reduced
its
it.
legacy.
maybe because they got rid of
Yeah.
absorb elements, that's where it went.
No, you
No.
you touch a willing creature, and once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to a saving throw.
Oh yes,
That's
what
what
it
it
was.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was not great.
There's a reason you weren't sure if it was a new
Yeah.
spell or
Yeah.
not.
Exactly. It was right up there with True Strike. I don't think it got taken very often. True Strike itself is a lot better, but I won't get too distracted here. Just wanted to mention that. I'm excited to see that one in action. Moving on to species, you're using the old Eladrin. Nothing changed there because you're using the old species. And your abilities should be pretty much the same once we get to the end. I know you said
I
they're a
hope
little
they
different.
are.
Your wisdom's at a
My-
19.
Mine's lower right now, too.
That's pretty damn good.
My intelligence is supposed to be at a 20, but once
You're
we
going to
there-
get to a
yeah,
20
yeah.
before, yeah.
This right here. This 20.
I know you're gonna get there. Watch, pick one feat when we get there, and you'll be fine.
We'll see.
Uh,
We will see.
so with that, let's jump back over to Valo.
To the super exciting level 2.
Yeah, we'll start lightning rounding through these because that first level took a while.
Sorry.
Yeah. I do
No,
also-
no, don't be
No,
sorry.
no.
It's just a lot to
Everyone's
cover.
did,
What are we doing with hit points?
when
you're
we're
go-
done.
Yeah,
We'll just
Yeah.
do what we have.
we're gonna do what we had and the damage that we had because we are switching over immediately. No long rest required on these. So if you guys
You
want to see
sure?
these in action, tune in Wednesday. Probably
We level up, right?
Don't ruin the surprise at the end
I
of the
don't think
session.
I get anything at level 2.
You get your wild shape.
It's
At level 2.
minimal. Brett's gonna have the most because he's multi-classing, so he's picking up Bard. But yeah, a lot of us is not gonna have.
So Valoth, you get something new at level 2.
Yeah.
I do, and there's two things I want to talk about because while y'all were talking about spells, y'all mentioned Find Familiar, and since we're rebuilding, I wanted to swap out Ice Knife with Find Familiar.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, because with the new Chromatic Orb, I don't see myself ever using Ice Knife.
Yeah.
Good
Chromatic
point.
Orb is
Yeah,
very good
point.
now. It's better. Than
Yeah,
what it
because
was.
Ice
Yeah.
Knife hits, explodes. Chromatic Orb has a chance to bounce and do the exact same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just better. Anyway, but yeah, now I get Scholar.
Yeah. Wizards
yeah.
get expertise, which makes sense. From a skill perspective, wizards are experts in like intelligence fields of study. And it's cool. You can pick Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature,
Any of
or
the
religion.
int ones, yeah.
You picked Insight.
Well,
though.
that's what I want to ask. I
How'd you
don't
do
know.
that?
I don't know what I want to pick. When it gave me insight, I don't know why. It's a choice
it
that
shouldn't
I could pick.
have.
Insight.
Oh, it's as long as it's choose one of the following skills in which you have proficiency. So I'm guessing it's showing you all the skills you have proficiency in, and this is a D&D
it's
Beyond
broken.
bug.
It's broken.
So I know you
then
mentioned
that,
before.
then that makes my answer because I was I didn't really read all that. I just looked at the choices. I just swapped. I don't know if it's going to show up, but I was deciding between insight and investigation because I feel like both would work for Valoth. But now that I can only choose investigation, it's that one.
There it is. Investigation it is. I think it makes sense as sort of like the ruined studying wizard that you are. Any interesting spells that I know you mentioned Chromatic Orb. We can take a look at that.
Yeah,
guy.
I just the only one I don't have right now is the homebrew Valafar's Maul. It's not showing up for whatever reason. But we
Oh.
can figure that out.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's because you had to take a feat to get it. It's weird the way you had to make it.
I don't know.
available.
We'll figure it out
We'll
later.
figure it
but these are all the level 1 spells that I had. If you go into the spell book itself, so I just dumped all of them. So it's a little bit more than you would typically have at level 2. But yeah, Find Familiar I swapped out. We talked about that one, and then Chromatic.
What familiar you gonna use?
Well,
that?
I don't know. We'll figure it out in the session. I literally just y'all mentioned it. I'm like, let me go check that out. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Find Familiar is really good. I should take that.
yeah, especially because
Especially the ritual too,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, especially because I'm not gonna be using Ice Knife because Chromatic Orb is so much better. I love this spell.
Yeah, you got to use it as a sorcerer.
I
in either
did, and
campaign.
so if anybody again saw the Into the Fae session, if not, go watch episode 1 or session 1.
It was really fun.
It was really fun. But basically, Chromatic Orb has a chance to bounce between targets. So the first target, it's a 90-foot range. On hit, you roll your 3d8 at level 1, 3d8 damage. If any of the dice match, each other, then you get to hit another target within 30 feet of that original target. And that only happens, you only get to bounce it once for the first level, but every time you upcast it, not only do you get an extra dice of damage, but you can bounce it an additional time. So there's 2 enemies, you could bounce back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You could bounce down a line of a bunch of things, and with more dice of damage, you have a higher chance of them matching.
Yeah.
And you do more damage to both, because it doesn't say do a reduced, it just says like you do that damage to the, to the second target. So 48, you do it twice to 2 different targets, or 5d8, 68, 78.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
And you get to pick any of the elemental damage types. So acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, thunder. All the ones it was before.
Thalnor popped in and did ask a question in chat. Sorry if I've been missing these. I've been like rolling through so much stuff. I haven't been looking at chat. But he asked about any thoughts on adjusting the 2014 extra species to better align with the changes in 2024 species. Several of us are actually using older species, and as far as what they give you, I think a lot of them are pretty on par, especially the recent ones, like the new species from the Spelljammer books, and any of the ones that were listed in Tasha's. I think when you get into some of the species that might have been released just after the Player's Handbook, some of those might fall a little bit short, and I think it's up to your discretion as a DM if you want to give them a little boost. But for the most part, I found that they've been pretty plug and play. It hasn't been too crazy.
Well, especially because they took a lot of things away from species as far as like
your ability scores.
So like it did kind of even out everything a lot more as far as species go.
So for example, Valos playing an Astral Elf.
I didn't get
from Spelljammer. You didn't get anything extra, and honestly, I think it fits in just fine with the other species.
No, I got my.
If anything, it might still be a little OP.
Oh yeah, because I get the
free
teleports.
Misty Steps.
But I got I did get a language, and I mentioned that earlier, so I don't know if you had mentioned that. But as I think all races now get an extra language or a language that they get to choose.
Yes, yeah, they kind of streamlined that a little bit.
Which kind of helped because as an Astral Elf, I had to find another way to learn Elvish.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. So I think that covers it for Valathon level 2.
Yep.
Let's jump over to Odd again. We'll start going in the row.
Okay.
We may stop highlighting too many of the spells just because we're only on level 2.
Yeah, yep. So for this level, I took a Bard. Picked up my first level on Bard, which gave me some new core traits. My 7th instrument I know how to play now is a yarding, whatever that is, but we'll find out.
Oh, what's it called?
Yarting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I took Persuasion as my skill. This also gives me the Bardic Inspiration, which is going to be low now, but I think it's a little bit better now. Is that correct, Alex?
I'm actually not sure.
I think
works on any D20 test.
Oh, it's
which
an
is pretty much
hour
the
long
same.
now.
Oh,
that's the difference.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that now.
Yep.
Yeah. So gone are the days of like you give somebody an inspiration, they forget to use it, and then 15 minutes later you're like, "Hey, use your." Too late. It'll last pretty much long enough for whatever you're doing. It does still scale pretty much the same. It's still a bonus action to use. But as this is our first multi-class of our characters, I do want to point out that one of the things the book did very well, I think, is it at the beginning of each class in the book, it tells you not only what you get as that class as your first level, but if you're multi-classing in, it tells you get these things. You no longer have to just know the multi-classing rules of like, oh, you don't get armor proficiency or you don't get this. And I really like that. You get an extra skill proficiency, an extra musical instrument. You do get light armor, whereas before you wouldn't have gotten any armor proficiency at all for multi-classing. Or at least that's how some people homebrew ruled it. I think the base rule was actually that you did get armor. Anyway, really cool to have that as like a sort of in-your-face front page feature now instead of just tucked somewhere in the back of the book. Outside of that, you get your spell casting as a bard. bards do bard things.
Big difference. Now,
Yeah?
In order to utilize my reaction, I am taking silvery barbs this time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely you should.
Yeah.
And let it be known, Silvery Barbs is available if you allow your players to use that. It is not reprinted in the player's handbook, but it is available. So it's still from the curriculum of chaos. I'm so glad that it gave me that information when I hovered, because I was like, what is this abbreviation? I forgot. Okay, let's move on to Drazad.
Yeah, so there's actually not. Sorry, I was in chat.
That's okay.
There's actually not a whole lot that happens at channel 2. Lord, at level 2, other than you get channel divinity.
Yeah, if you want the real stuff, you got to go to
channel 2.
like input channel for your N64 games.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally.
is that squiggly channel? That you tried to catch a sight of something on there?
But
It makes your hand feel all tingly when you touch the
yeah.
screen.
probably the biggest changes is
Nostalgia.
it's not just a single use; it has 2 uses.
Yeah.
And beyond that,
Turn Undead's wording is a little bit different too, and I think it's actually a little bit better the way that it
yeah,
is.
absolutely, because the old Turn Undead had the whole frightened and incapacitated thing in it, but it was worded weirdly. But now, anyway, whenever you channel divinity from level 2, you actually have 2 different options. You have something called Divine Spark, which essentially is like you can either basically heal someone you can see within 30 feet, or make them take radiant or necrotic damage. So it's kind of like Sacred Flame and like Healing Word like meshed together. And then Turn Undead, which is kind of the same thing.
It's the classic one.
Yeah, except now. So whenever it fails its save, it's frightened and incapacitated, but it doesn't have to, and it still has to use its turn to move away from you. Mm-hmm. But because in the old rules, Channel Divinity Turn Undead would make them also use their action to dash away from the cleric. It would basically like make it to the point where like they would, like if you were running a genuine campaign. Yeah, like because we had this problem when we fought the Fancy Pants Man. His name escapes me right now.
Yeah, Phaedron.
Phaedron. Yeah, whenever we fought Phaedron, because like some of the shadows I had turned, and they were just like, it got to the point where we were like, well, we're just going to say they're dead because they're like 8 miles away.
They're not doing anything.
So now they still have to take their turn to move away from you, but it's just their normal movement speed. They don't have to dash or anything.
So they can still do stuff. I think it kind of balances the feature a little bit. I wish they would have taken a turn to make clerics less undead focused, and they definitely they tamp down that flavor a little. And the fact that they give you another option in Divine Spark is nice. So I like that. I could definitely see Drazad using that from time to time.
I like how they added in Divine Spark, especially the ability to heal with your Channel Divinity.
Any spells of note that you picked up that you like?
Not in particular, because none of them super changed.
I know Word of Radiance is a new one, right? Or no, it's an old one. They changed the wording.
Yes.
Yeah. It's now a 5-foot emanation, which is basically just a 5-foot radius starting on you. They just added that wording to make it easier to understand.
Well,
it
and
emanates
so
from you.
Yeah, well, because it was weird, because like the range area in the old one was 5 feet, but it said each creature of your choice that you can see within range. So unless you were like actively paying attention to the range, you might just take it as like each creature you can see,
right,
kind of a thing. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and bounce over to Flora again for her level 2.
Nice. Stop it. Do that. I didn't have.
Let's see. No, it's okay. I'm still pulling it up. If you guys want, maybe we could start doing 2 levels at a time. Would that be too much?
No.
We can do 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we're past those first few, that way we're spending less time bouncing around.
Yeah.
So jump to 4.
We're kind of fast and loose here, but we'll do your 2.
Yeah. So the only 2 things I get are Wild Shape and Wild Companion, which Wild Companion is a new thing, right?
Wild Companion is new.
Because I had to take a feat or something to get it last time, so that's fun. Water.
And that's what I was referring to earlier when I mentioned, like, we'll get into some Find Familiar stuff, because you can now use your Wild Shape uses to cast the Find Familiar spell without any material components.
And now, like, my legacy Flora, I have wild companion. I just don't remember what it came from. So when that character sheet loads, we can look at it. But wild shape is now a bonus action for everyone.
Bonus action for everyone.
I'm so excited.
We do love that. I'm very happy
so
about
excited.
that. You also get
But
more uses of
I do
it.
have. Do I?
Yeah. You get up to 4 uses at level 17, I think. And as you are right now at level 9, you should have 3. I just forget exactly when that comes online.
But one thing that changed drastically is that I can only know 4 forms.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
previously-
actually, you can at your new level, you'll be able
Oh,
to.
sorry. Well, I'm at level 2 right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chart.
I know.
At level 2, I will only know 4. At most, I'll know 8.
Yeah.
Which previously I had
Unlimited.
all of them.
Which honestly, I'm kind of happy they put that limitation on there.
I think it's a limitation for the DM, not the player.
That's fair. I think it's I think it benefits the DM.
It benefits you greatly.
But well, just because it's less. It's not that I had to prepare for your wild shapes, but as a new player, and we experienced this a little
Yes,
bit.
I was gonna say that. If y'all have not watched our Into the Fae campaign,
Yes.
we are using the new rules over there. They're not on D&D Beyond yet because we had it before it was released.
Yeah.
But our friend Ashley,
We had to play pen and paper on that one.
yeah, our friend Ashley, this is her first time ever playing D&D.
Yep.
And she is playing a new druid, and I actually have them right here. We have a deck of cards that Alex got me that has all of the wild shape that you'll know, and so I was able to just get these cards, give them to Ashley, and then she could like flip through
Yeah.
and figure out what she wanted.
And I think that
turn
made it a lot
into.
easier for her. But what I was gonna say is like druid is arguably one of the hardest classes for a beginner to latch onto, and she did an amazing job. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody would have guessed it was her first
Good
time
job,
playing.
Ashley. But I'm sad about.
I think setting a limit on it is
Yeah.
good.
I think it's too low of a limit.
Okay.
I think it stops at level 8. I think it should keep increasing.
Okay.
Because like a druid at level 20 would know more than a druid at level 8.
That's fair. And I will say this too. I don't think there are too many DMs out there that are gonna be like, actually, you only have 8 forms. You can't use another one.
So like,
it's not.
And look,
that
realistically,
crazy.
I may never use all 8.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, and I do kind of like. I don't like having a limit, but I do kind of like it because I'm not having to sit there and like figure out what the
Look
fuck I'm
through
gonna change it to.
30,000 ones to see
exactly.
which
And
one's
like
the best.
these
Yeah.
things, honestly, I don't know where you got these, but if y'all
I
get these
forget.
little cards,
Yeah.
it's really useful.
I got hit with an Instagram ad.
You
and-
got man.
no
We'll probably
buyers.
have to get a
no
new
buyer's
deck
remorse.
now.
Not sponsored.
Because
but love them.
ACs. I don't take the AC of the bear anymore.
That's true.
I get temporary hit points. So
or you don't take the hit points of the bear anymore.
That's
you
what I
still-
meant. Sorry,
you still take the
sorry.
AC. Yeah.
I don't take the hit points.
I was confused. I was
Yeah,
like, wait a second.
I was reading AC on here. Yeah, so I just take temporary hit points instead, and they're equal to your druid level. So at level 9, I only have 9.
Yeah. And
That
that's
sucks.
That's the part that I don't like what they did with druid. I understand them not giving you the beast hit points
Yeah.
anymore because as it was before, druids were the tankiest MFers around.
Yeah.
They were crazy. It needed to be tamed a little bit, pun intended. But I think they could have met somewhere in the middle, maybe double your druid level, maybe even triple your druid level, which is what the moon druid gets. But again,
If the moon druid gets triple and they want to
So-
keep it separate, do double.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Leslie also just pointed out in the chat that druids can speak while wild shape. That is a new
yes,
thing.
Oh,
that is
that
also a
is
new
a new
thing.
thing,
yeah.
You still can't cast spells, but you can speak.
We can't speak.
That is a
Now,
nice.
Sounded
I
like-
do right. I do have a feat that we homebrewed, or a
A wild,
Wild
shape.
shape.
wild shape that we homebrewed that does let me cast a certain number of spells. It's the only ones that only require verbal.
Which is only like 5 or 6 spells.
Yeah,
actually.
it's really not many at all.
So it
it's
kind of
more,
worked out.
but it's more than you would think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
If you guys are interested in
One
that,
thing-
join the Discord. I'll shoot
yeah.
you the
One thing
homebrew.
I meant to say earlier that I didn't was along with the limit of wild shape, you like known forms. I only ever use 2 or 3. You know,
Yeah.
like as much as it like everything inside of me is like, don't give me a limit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
realistically,
Don't put me in this cage.
yeah, don't put me in a box. What are you talking about?
Quite literally.
Realistically, I'm not gonna use any more
Yeah.
than 4 probably.
Yeah. And
What?
honestly, you get a lot more uses of wild shape. I know I mentioned the max uses, but also you can convert spell slots into wild shape uses, and instead of getting all of them back on a short rest, you'll only get one at a time per short rest.
Yeah.
All of them on a long rest. So I think in the early levels, you'll probably get about the same amount of wild shapes as you used to, but later on, you'll be able to just wild shape as much as you want.
I seen Leslie ask this question a couple times in the chat, and chat is helping her and we're explaining it, but it might be easier if we just say it.
Wait, hold on.
So
I'm like at the end of typing it out.
typing it, but
Yeah.
she's asking, how is it possible to cast 2-leveled spells?
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
if I have something with Magic Initiate
Alkali.
that would let me cast Healing Word
Cure Wounds was the
or
example
Cure
I
Wounds.
used.
Yeah, well, Healing
Yeah.
Word's a bonus action.
Right, but Cure Wounds, the example I use, I'm sorry,
No, go
is
for it.
I'm Alkalite, so I can use Cure Wounds just to like I could just use Cure Wounds without
yeah.
casting a
So
spell.
we're
And
saying
Cure
the
Wounds
same
is
thing,
normally
just
an
in-
action.
yeah.
We're backwards.
Yeah.
But then I could also go back and then use Healing Word, expend a 1st through 5th level spell slot,
Yeah.
and still use it because it's a bonus action.
Because you're not
it's not expending a spell slot.
Exactly.
So you only get to expend one spell slot per turn,
Yeah.
Yes.
not including your reaction.
Yeah.
Well, you only get to cast a spell using a spell slot. In case there's a feature that
You-
just
yeah,
burns
you
like
can-
the
Yeah,
Elder.
yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
Elder
yeah, sorry.
Smite
Yeah,
is the
you're
only
right, you're
one
right,
now.
you're right.
It's the magic action.
It is like
now.
such a small difference in wording of
But it
saying,
makes a
It is
big
big
difference.
of
difference,
saying
yeah.
like casting a spell or expending a spell slot. Like that's such a small thing,
But
and
it's
it
a
has
big enough difference.
such a big change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that covers it for your stuff.
Yeah, I was checking to see when I got Wild Companion, and
While you're
When-
doing that, I'm going to switch to Valoth.
yeah, I'm
should be on
trying to
level
figure
4
out
now,
how
right?
I got it.
Yeah. But
Well, I
Alex
have
threw a
it on my
curveball by
old
telling me to pick
character.
an extra thing.
I must have taken.
sorry.
something.
Go to me. Go to me.
Go to Odd?
Yeah.
So we're
All
going
right.
up 2 levels this next
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go to 4.
I did both.
Because
of
now
my
I get the
things.
ASI slash feet, and I'm
I don't
questioning my
have
feet.
an ASI yet.
I'm questioning.
Yeah,
my feet.
that's
I'm
true.
multi-class,
That's
yeah.
true. And I will say, just as a general bit of knowledge, ASIs are themselves now feats.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's
But
always a
I
feat.
think you're
yeah.
kind of less encouraged to take one because
Oh,
all
it's
of the
always a
regular
feat.
feats come with a +1 to an ability score. So it almost feels like you should always take a feat, or almost always take a feat. Just take 2 feats instead of 1 ability score improvement as you level. You'll get a much more flavorful character with a lot of cool abilities. I think that was their intention, and honestly, I think they nailed it. I think they did a good job.
I wish I would have realized that earlier.
Wait.
Are you on me?
No,
or-
I'm on 2014 odd. That's why I'm confused. I saw a paladin level. I was like, what is going on here?
Not
Oh
anymore.
yeah, and someone had asked about if we have a paladin, but we don't
Not
in
anymore.
this campaign, but we have one in the old one because he dropped his level of paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not the old one, but in Into the Fae, our newest one has a paladin that is annoying to all the players, but the
I like
viewers
it.
love him.
Thank you.
I like it. I'm just role playing. It's annoying. It's pretty spot on. So
Yes. So level 2, you'll get your expertise. I believe you always got this at level 2. If not, you may
the expertise is new. Jack of all trades was the level 2 thing you used to get.
expertise came later.
It was on 3. Yeah.
Yes.
They just moved it up 1 level.
Cool.
So now, not only am I good at everything just a little bit, but I'm really good at 2 things.
Performance and persuasion are definitely pretty flavorful for odd.
And those are the same 2 that I had in the previous build. But also, since we do in 2 levels, I get College of Alabard.
Yes, you do. So, like I said earlier, Odd was College of Swords. College of Valor is what he's switching to now. It's way better, I think, than the old College of Valor, which wasn't bad. Just wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Swords was better, but there was some argument back and forth. This one is definitely better, I think.
The focus now is going to switch from using my Bardic Inspirations to buff my prowess to using my bonus action every turn to give somebody in the party a Bardic Inspiration so that they can buff their prowess. So
Yeah.
if they want to use that Bardic Inspiration to buff their AC when they get hit, or and potentially cause it to miss, or they have an attack that they really, really, really wanted to hit, they can use it to add to their attack roll.
Yeah.
Or they can use it as a regular bardic inspiration. On a skill. You know?
It's kind of what the old Valor Bard did, just better. It does it better. I mean, they really did a good job of carrying the spirit over and just kind of making it easier. Again, you can use your weapon as a spellcasting focus with martial training. And if you didn't already, you have medium armor and shield proficiency. And I don't think you did.
I didn't.
So really important level for Odd here. I think a lot of the odd things that he did are starting to come online. And happy to see College of Valor actually getting some love here. Definitely. This is the fun fact. It was the second subclass I ever played. So I'm excited to see that. Any spells of note?
I did not do spells, so
that's okay. Just next time I circle around, just let me know if there are any. Are you ready for me now, Valoth?
I am.
ready
Do you feel it, Mr. Krabs?
I ended up picking the exact same ASI I had last time, but I'll explain why I was deciding against it. So originally, with Valoth, you gave us, or with our original characters, you gave us a feature at first level.
I did.
Just to have fun at first level.
Yeah, because you guys are all experienced players. I think this was a pretty common homebrew rule to give your players a level 1 feat, just so that you're not stuck with just I swing my sword. You know, that's
and
that's all I
chose Shadow Touch, which, if a lot of people remember, we did a lot of shenanigans with invisibility at level 1 that you normally couldn't do because invisibility is a second level spell, but Shadow Touch gave me invisibility. Well, now that we're remaking it, I'm like, well, I don't really need that because I can get those things other ways, right? But I ended up sticking with it because of what we were talking about, being able to cast 2 leveled spells at a time and all that other kind of nonsense.
Right.
So I did take, end up taking Shadow Touch as my ASI for 4th level. But the other things that I get at 3rd level before we even get there is a new thing that divination. So I got to pick which one I want to be, which I'm going to be a divination wizard again, which is now called a diviner rather than a divination wizard.
Yeah, they're going to change that up.
A diviner.
But
no, School of Divination is what you chose.
I know what you're saying.
That's one of the only things they changed.
Well, no. So I got Divination Savant now, which is something I didn't have before either. So I choose 2 wizard spells from the Divination School and add them to my spellbook for free. Mm-hmm. So I got 2 spells that Valoth didn't have before.
Okay.
And in addition, whenever I gain access to a new level spell slots, I can add. So further, when we get further, you get 1 free divination spell each level, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Because I always felt bad taking it as my level up because I could put them in my spellbook for cheaper. So it's like I'd rather find them and spend less money.
That's what it was. That's why I thought that wasn't a new feature, because I remembered you always feeling bad when I'd put divination or not put divination spells.
Well, because I wanted to take divination because I'm a divination wizard, but then I was like, well, now I'm never taking advantage of the cheaper. But now it doesn't feel bad because it tells you can only pick divination, pick them, put them, and they're free. So that's really nice. So I got Mind Spike and Locate Object, so now I don't have to rely on this man taking Locate Object every time.
Purify food and drink.
Hey, it played last time.
It did. It really did.
It did.
It honestly did.
Guess what is on my character sheet right now?
Hey, look, I didn't say it in session, but if you guys didn't find a way to get some sustenance, you were going to get a level of exhaustion.
Oh, yeah, well,
cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
so it paid
you
off.
all are welcome.
It definitely paid off.
And then Portent, which
That's the same.
that is the same.
Yeah.
And I already talked about the ASI. I just talked about it a little bit earlier because that's what's taking me a while.
I think you really underestimate our ability to stoop to cannibalism.
Especially with that one dude that was like, I want my diamond.
Those poor merchants.
No, we had a
you want your life?
Look, we lost a merchant. I'm just saying, like.
And you said you touched on the feat already?
Yeah, so I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to do something else, maybe get access to like one of the magic initiates or whatever. Because Shadow Touch was really broken at first level because, again, like I said, we got invisibility early on. So I was like, I don't know if I still want that. Especially, I picked it because I get the intelligence score, but everything has an
Yeah.
an ASI at least one. So, but I stuck with Shadow Touch because it works, it fits, and free spell still be able to cast bonus action kind of stuff. Which
And it's still very good. And now, in addition to what it did before, you now get to increase an ability score. Like I said,
D&D
you already
Beyond.
did this one. You already did because this is a
really?
legacy
So
one.
today.
Yeah.
oh,
Or no, it's not legacy, but Shadow Touch you already got intelligence. That's why I picked it originally.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a half feat like that,
Yes.
which makes it incredibly good.
It was
But
incredibly
now-
broken in the old rules. Now it's even.
Now it's even with everything else.
1.
So cool.
Maybe it's my computer. It's just.
I'm gonna jump over to Drazad now.
You might want to bring it and get
You
it
think?
checked. Yeah. So jumping between level 3 and level 4, a couple things happen, but nothing super crazy and nothing that really changes from the 2014 rules. So I get my cleric subclass, which is not one of the core rule subclasses, but
Yes.
obviously we're sticking with the forge domain subclass because that'd be psychotic if I tried to change that.
Well, and that's kind of, I guess this is the first time that we've run into this where one of us is using a subclass from the old rules.
Yeah.
I know they have harped on this, but I will say it again. It is backwards compatible, and I think they actually did it pretty well. The only thing to remain aware of is, like you with a cleric, instead of taking your subclass at first level, you now take it at third.
Yes.
So using an old subclass, you would just put those first level abilities on third level.
Yeah.
You just get them a little later, but generally speaking, I found that like they're not too underpowered when you get them. You know what I
What?
mean? Like you would think that first level abilities given to you at third level would seem kind of lackluster, but somehow I think that they actually did a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah, no, because I mean, mine are heat metal, identify, magic weapon, and searing smite, which
Yes.
are all like decent
Yeah.
spells.
Blessing of the Forge, specifically, giving a +1 to armor or a +1 to attack and damage rolls.
Yeah.
Good old Forge cleric stuff. That's still going to be useful at third level. You know, you'll be glad to have that. So, the one thing I would like to point out, and I'll point it out a little bit later, I think.
I have a question about something too.
Uh-huh.
So one of my bonus proficiencies is you gain proficiency with heavy armor and smith tools.
Yes.
Would I still need to choose protector?
No, you wouldn't. You could choose the other thing
Bugs
if you
hit
want.
Our little, this doorbell screen. The
Oh, and it
lock,
sets it up?
How
and it'll-
big is that bug?
Well, sometimes we also have a giant gecko that has a whole family in our mailbox.
Oh, yeah.
And so sometimes
Like hitting
they
the
walk-
buttons on your
Hit
door
the
lock.
buttons.
Like,
Yeah.
We're gonna get in here
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And if
Either
you
that-
guys are hearing our
And
goblins
they
barking.
Yeah.
hear, they
Oh,
hear
yeah.
the door and then they
Yeah.
start barking. It also does it by the one by our trash
Even
cans.
better, I like to imagine they're a musical family and they're playing it.
Yeah. Literally.
Okay, well, okay, so
So
a
you
quick
could change that. Yeah.
I'm gonna move it to thaumaturge, so that will give me another cantrip, which I'll take light, even though I don't need it anymore. And I have a
Dragonborn, get that
bonus,
dark vision, baby.
to my intelligence checks, which is equal to my wisdom modifier, which is gonna be good later down the road.
Yes.
My domain spells are all the same. Bonus proficiencies, Blessing of the Forge is the same. The Artisan's Blessing is the same. And then because I was going to take an ASI, but because of the whole, you basically
Half
getting
feat.
a +1 anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took Warcaster at 4th level.
Yeah.
You found it.
Yes. Yeah.
It was in there. Yeah.
He could not find it
It's
earlier.
bugged. You have to go turn off the restrictions for feats, even though
even though it's part of the new rules.
well, it's not. Yeah, and even though like I have the prerequisites
wait,
for it,
the
it's
prerequisites
still,
bugged.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Wait, okay. I
Go
wonder
to-
if
yeah,
that's why.
go-
Yeah,
And that's
show me
everything. I'll see
Okay.
you guys at level 6.
Yeah, what'd you do?
My turn. My
Let
turn.
me get a second to
my,
get back to you.
My turn.
Yeah, there are a few bugs in D&D Beyond. If you guys are
make sure
trying
you
to do
actually
this
have
yourselves, just be aware that they're working on it. A couple of us have development backgrounds. We feel for the developers,
Yeah.
especially because they.
Definitely. It's
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah.
And
It's a
look,
lot of stuff
super
they're
When you
changing.
complicated.
submit, first off, submitting a bug, not a bad thing. Easy
Yeah.
to do, actually,
Yeah.
with D&D Beyond. But just be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add a little like,
Yeah, 'cause,
hey,
like-
you're doing a great job, but
Developers
hey,
are
QA is a
too.
very important thing.
Very
Like,
true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very overworked
And you
human
cannot
being.
Exactly.
catch everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they cannot.
I one time had a manager that told me, if this goes wrong, it could cost our client $500,000. And I was like, okay, that's not my fault. Like, what the fuck? So, like, don't be like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Don't-
pressure on them.
So I didn't
Yes.
go wrong.
A lot of pressure, guys.
Also,
And
there's
look.
a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
now I take anxiety.
Yeah, because the only prerequisite for
No.
Warcaster is to be level 4 or above and to be a spellcaster, and I am both of those things. And it's like,
So-
no, you can't have this.
By the way, Leslie, I did see your message in chat here about the new 2024 Rangers. I will be making a guide on them later, but I did already highlight them in another video. Yes, they are absolutely better than the 2014 version. Are they
Still
good
put
enough?
some.
Still near the bottom of the food chain there, and I think there are ways to make it viable. I actually just posted a weapon juggling video that uses Rangers as a prime example. I think that can help them out a lot. Maybe even dipping Ranger with Paladin for Divine Favor to stack on top of Hunter's Mark and stuff. There are ways to make it work. So I think it's good. It could have been a lot better, but I'm living with it. I'm happy. So
Yeah, that is a bug.
yeah. See?
It fixed the thing that
Yeah.
I submitted the bug for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By dropping the feet.
so
Department.
Yeah. Weird.
My turn.
we are
Go.
now on
Sorry.
Flora.
That's
Your
okay.
third level. Just like
fourth level.
Drazad. Yeah,
Third and fourth.
on your third level, just like Drazad, you are using a subclass from
Yes.
a previous book, the Circle of Dreams Druid.
And I did debate
Mm-hmm.
changing.
Okay,
I did debate changing to stars.
I think that could have been cool. Either way,
Yeah.
I know. But I already am used to dreams.
I also think
Dreams?
Dreams is more
Is that what you were before? I
thematically.
thought you were land.
It's James.
Ooh.
I think honestly, if you
Oh,
were
yeah,
to
that's
change
right.
in terms of theme for Flora, Dreams or Land would make the most sense.
I don't really know anything about it, so I feel
The
like
Land Druid is more spellcasty.
Yeah, it's more potent spellcasting.
But for now, we'll move forward with Dreams.
Yeah, I think I'll stick to dreams for now. But
We reserve the right to
Oh,
throw
yeah.
these characters
Maybe
up
circle back and
at
change
any
it.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the
I-
cool thing, just real quick, because
Yeah.
I watched a video on this. I heard a video on this the other day, and it was like the big thing about Circle of Land is you can use your wild shapes, and this might be prevalent for you because you don't use wild shapes all that often. You can trade them back in for spells. I think it's the
Oh
opposite.
no!
way.
It's any druid can do that.
Oh,
we just aren't there
okay.
yet. That comes online
Yeah,
at
sorry.
5th level, I think.
Cool.
Jeez, and it's a really
God.
cool feature. I'm very happy that they added that because
it's
too
fifth
often
level.
it felt like you weren't able to
Yeah,
do the
so
druidy things that you wanted to
It's
do.
on 5th level.
Mhm.
It's called Wild Resurgence. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it in a second.
But the
Cool.
features you get with your Circle of Dreams at least are
Balm
the
of
same.
Summer Court.
Balm of the Summer Court you used a lot.
I use a lot. That's my only reason I
Yeah.
didn't. That's what I was going to say. The only reason I haven't switched my subclass is because I use that so much. So I think I'm probably just going to keep it. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the flavor I have. I don't want to be any more spellcasty than I already am. Like, I like the balance I have. So. Because if you're like super spellcasty, then you're not as inclined to wild shape. And I'm playing a druid because I wanted to wild shape.
And I scrolled backwards while you were saying that to double check something because they did in Wild Shape also list out a little bit more in a little bit more detail what you can and can't do while you're in Wild Shape. One of the things they mentioned was that you retain your class features, languages, and feats. However, you do not, because it doesn't mention it, you don't retain your racial your species traits. So if you have an ability that you can activate as part of your species, you can't use that.
Oh,
But
that
you
makes
could use
sense, though.
you could still use your Balm of Summer Court
Yeah.
while in Wild Shape because it is a class feature.
Yep. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
race features, that makes sense, though.
That does.
I mean, you're
Um,
literally changing your speed.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then you just picked up an ability score improvement for this one.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
the same one I picked up.
And you guys can see
Are
it
you
is
at
a
20
feat
yet?
now. that's just a cool thing to know. It doesn't really change much.
It makes it a little bit easier.
It's a little better organized.
And specifically in D&D Beyond, because you used to have to pick one.
Well, you would have to make a
I feel
decision.
It limits the drop downs.
You would have to make your decision, and if you selected one and you wanted to look at all the feats, but you're like, actually, I want to do this, you have to go back to.
And
just-
then if
Too
you
many
change your mind
drop-downs.
again, the
Yeah.
feat wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah, too many
I know.
drop
It
downs.
feels like a D&D Beyond specific
Yeah.
quality of life improvement.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with paper character sheets.
Any spells that you took that are a little different, or?
I am doing my spells at the end.
Okay, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Well, let's do our 5th and 6th level, and then I think we'll probably take a little break because we are. Actually, let's take a break now
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
because I think 5th through 9th levels are going to go a little bit faster. So
Good. I
we're gonna
can
take a little
prep my
potty break, you guys. Get yourself some water, stay hydrated, stretch, do all the things.
Go look at the moon.
Go look at the moon, and we'll
Submit
see
some
you.
bugs.
We'll see you in about
Yeah.
10 minutes. Please submit some bugs. We need some help.
But be nice. Be nice.
Be nice. I wasn't ready.
Oh, terribly sorry. I didn't know anyone would be here while the stream was running. Give me a moment to tidy up. It's much better. Well, while you're here, we might as well take a moment to thank all of our members for supporting the channel and bringing this stream to life. A huge thanks to Tides of Mo, Brett Venable, Tabletop Beard, Grim Reaper, Atmos Seeker, Justinian of Darkport, Angel Jobert, XIVM, Corey of Darkport, Angel of Darkport, Dravian, Anthony Pace, Memebot 69000, Dutin 103, Drazadi, Zebek Longfang, Lil Tired, Scuba Dubert, Lothos Carpathia, Autographed Cat, Tyler Robbins, It's Vamp Darling, Tiago Levas, Malachi, Jara Harbison, Angry Viking, Popoli Koopa Support, Sean Tarosian, Just a Bat Boy with Internet, The One with the Gun, Wargamer on Wheels, John Pierre, Charlie Gardner, Leonard Zabo, Augustus, Mr. M, PG Animation, Wayne Bailey, Daniel J. Colby, Rose, King Viper, Scott Rossi, Neri, Caleb Hill, Toby Rogers, Halasan Gaming, Lawful Good Nun, Shadow Megumi, Bill Folks, Voice of Odd, Sherlock Holmes, Simon S.M., Red Rogue, Boomer Gaming, Kombuchi, Mark Strong, Henry Akinosho, Good Freak, Yoter Einerson, Derby Ice Creams, Chad Jackson, Oak Parrot, Elemental Freak, Robin, Spellcrafter Gaming, Trent Adams, Isaiah Rojas, O4C, Unknown Pizza, Tygo Silva, Snomnom, I Like Succubus, Jason96, Fables D20, Jose Perez, NM, Trollerbladering, Resolute Rebellion, Autolife, 12 Beyond 34, Matthew Stanky, Phil 4975, Chaos Hole, Triforce Samurai, Ant on the Ground, Jaggers, Richard Smith, Moon Goose McQueen, K, Daddy Dur Frosty, J.O. Hearn, Aaron G, John R, Almighty Zeus, Ira Wing, Will Plays Games, H.D. Siles, James K, Kathy Evans, Taylor Waterman, J.J. Sasquatch, Brendan Sparrow, DM Tip, Yamil Diaz, Gustavo Bolivar, Devin Beer, Curtis Ellis, Jerome Grant, Kyrie Williams, PNX, Sparky Pilot, The Algorithm, Alexandre Henriquez, Terrence Thompson, Big Head Bro, and XIVM. You know, members get tons of unique benefits as well, like these weekly shoutouts and emojis that they can use in the stream chat, and a heaping helping of chaos points that can be used to, well, perhaps it's better to show you
The most exciting feature for our live streams has come to YouTube. You can now roll dice live to help us in our adventures by using chaos that's built up by watching and interacting with the stream. All you need to do is keep an eye out for earning instructions that appear on our stream, and then spend those points by typing in the commands that correspond to the dice you'd like to roll. This feature is always available, no matter what campaign we're playing in, so be sure to hop in and help out our players because, well, they're gonna need it.
Thank you. You're all too kind, and the drinks are on me tonight. Ha 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 ha! Oh, you must not have enabled gifted memberships. Let me show you how. Ha 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 ha! What you'll want to do is make your way over to our channel page and then add /allow_gifts. From there, you can turn on the toggle for free stuff and join in the chaos. Ha 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 ha! Now for my next tune, a little ditty about a dead necromancer named Pinky.
Hello, Drazad here. Oh my god, you have got to come check out all of our wares. We have so many different things. Help support the stream and get yourself some new magic items as well over at the Constructed Chaos store.
Greetings to all my bearded brothers out there. I'm Alex, also known as Constructed Chaos on YouTube, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Tabletop Beard. This family-owned beard oil company is run by 3 brothers that have combined 2 great loves of mine: tabletop RPGs and beard care. And it makes a lot of sense because, as I'm sure many of you know, growing and maintaining a healthy beard can be an adventure all its own. I started my quest back before I was even on YouTube, and I guess you could say I was stuck at level 1 for a while, constantly itching my way through life with a wild and unkempt beard and just trusting hairspray and regular shampoo to get the job done. Believe me, I was rolling nat 1s on just about every charisma check I made at that point. But eventually I started trying various beard care products like oils, butters, and balms, and I found some that worked well enough, but none of them really tied into my backstory. Not to mention my wife was constantly complaining about the smell. Then I was put on to the products from Tabletop Beard, and let me tell you, it was a match made in heaven. Or hell, depending on what kind of flavor you prefer. These guys use a premium oil blend of meadow foam seed, rosehip, golden jojoba, argan, avocado, and sunflower oils to create the most high-quality product that contains no cheap filler or artificial oils that you typically want to steer clear of. And each scent has been expertly crafted and matched to a familiar TTRPG style, so you know exactly the kinds of vibes you're putting out without the scents being too mundane or too overpowering. To top it off, all their products, oils, butters, and balms are made in small batches, so the quality control is top-notch, and so is the customer service. They're always looking for new ways to meet and exceed customer needs, and I've even heard that they have some new ideas cooking up behind the scenes. So consider this your session 0 and take some time to check out Tabletop Beard today. Truly, they're the only starting equipment that you need for your own successful beard care journey. Bear Dritz here, letting you in on a little-known ranger secret that'll keep you satiated in the wild, even when you have no rations left. Ew, not that. I'm talking about subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell icon. It's easy to miss the signs of a stream going live if you're not prepared. So make sure to do that and... What was that?
Hold it right there, adventurer. We're looking for some deviants that refuse to like this video while they're still watching. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this heinous crime, would you? Well then, as you were, but stay out of trouble.
In a world of darkness exists Jeramentum, a beacon of hope in the realm of Terra. Our heroes, all with unique pasts, live here and are connected by a common destiny to protect the dream. Welcome to Darkeport an actual play production company. Our inaugural dark fantasy D&D campaign, Gold, Green, and Red, is inspired by the lived experience of War Medic and GM Angel Gamble. Subscribe to us now on YouTube. Live episodes stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
It appeared out of thin air when they found it, as if by the will of the planes themselves. A curious and mysterious bauble that has turned up time and time again throughout the ages. Some have studied it all their lives, hoping to unravel its uniquely fascinating magical properties. Many more have used its power for their own, though all falling victim to fate in the end. Now, it calls to you. By chance, by destiny, by desire, it matters not. It calls to you, and it calls to be cast from your palm, so that it might deliver unto you the unknown wonders held within.
How much longer are they going to... excuse me. Are they still not back? Wait there just a moment. I'll fetch them for you. The little chaos gremlins. You have people waiting, you know!
Welcome back,
Hey,
everyone.
level 10 now, you guys.
Gifted some memberships because I saw some great text in the chat. some new friends here. Welcome in. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves as we make our way through adjusting our characters for the new 2024 rule set. We are now going to do levels 5 through 9. Specifically, we're going to do levels 5 and 6 with Sam, who... I'll let you guys guess the reason why, is now wearing a different pair of shorts than he was when we started this.
We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
So, okay, wait, we gotta give some backstory.
Wait,
no.
Let
We're
them
letting
guess.
them guess. We're letting them guess what
why.
happened, and then we'll fill
okay,
them in
well,
later.
when we give the answer, I want to give the backstory first.
Oh, absolutely, we will.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
So, Sam, while they chew on that information,
think they're
as
gonna
weird
get
as
it.
that is to say,
Don't chew on my pants.
you got a new feature for Wizard. One of the few
Yeah.
that they got in Memorize Spell. It basically says when you finish a short rest, you can basically swap out one of your leveled spells for a different leveled spell.
Yes.
This makes a lot of sense. I think it's a small feature, but it's a nice adjustment.
And you still have arcane recovery too. So I was thinking about this. It was warlocks who really were the only class I felt like who had any incentive to take a short rest.
Yeah.
And now wizards
Warlocks and monks, really.
and monks, yeah. And now wizards feel like they kind of do too. And I don't know how the other classes fare, but at least to me, it feels like they're trying to incentivize short rests more.
They did a really good job of that across all the classes.
Yeah.
I think all of them have something that they get back, something vital that they get back on short rests now. Definitely, it felt like Wizard was one of those ones that did not care.
No.
Which is weird. You'd think that Wizards would want to take rests more often.
And they did have arcane recovery, which
Yeah.
is not nothing, but
It's
it
something.
just wasn't. Now there's even more.
Yeah.
Which Memorize Spell, I don't know if you said it, but it is. But I can swap a spell
Yeah.
per short rest. Yeah.
And then your Expert Divination is a subclass feature, more or
You
less
already
the
had.
same as what it was before. They didn't really change much there, but nothing was really broken with it. So I think that's great.
Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I just read it again. Let me double check. What was it before? No, yeah, it's exactly the same.
Exactly
They
the
just
same.
reworded it to make it more clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, a lot of what happened in the 2024 rules, and that doesn't make it any less worth it. I'm really happy about it. I'm not hashtag not sponsored. There's some other problems with the PHB. I'll get into some of that in some future videos and some of the ones I've already posted. But yeah, I think more than anything, it's worth at least playing with the new rules since a lot of them are free now. Odd, let's jump over to you for levels 5 and 6.
Those are some pretty big levels for me. For 5, I'm gonna get my first ASI, which I'm gonna take something that was not good previous. That is, I wish was good because it fit with the flavor of like a sword and shield build I was going with.
Pokemon?
But I'm gonna take a Shield Master, which got some huge changes.
Yes, it did.
Number 1, the bash that you do with Shield Master no longer requires your bonus action. It's just like if you hit with an attack, you attempt a bash, and it's the
Knock
same.
them prone.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you hit them, or if they fail their strength saving throw, which is like it's your strength modifier 8 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency. If they fail that, they go prone right in front of you. And subsequent melee attacks and some other attacks, or all attacks within 5 feet, are now going to have advantage on them.
Yeah.
And a huge thing that they did was previous, you used to be able to add your shield +2 from your shield AC to your dex for dexterity saving throws. Now it's like a mini evasion, and if you can take only half damage from a dexterity saving throw, and you pass, you take no damage.
Yeah.
While holding that shield.
That's really nice.
It's like you jump and put the shield in front of you.
That's almost an entire class feature in a feat.
Right, exactly.
In part of a feat. I think it's really good. And you hinted at that little bit that we're going to cover later whenever you take your second feat. We'll take a look at something that changed in the wicked combo you shared with me over the break. I'm actually pretty excited for it.
You're like, oh god. You're excited about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last feature I got was Fountain of Inspiration, which means all my bardic inspirations come back on a short rest.
Yeah.
Which that's cool.
Yeah, and that's the standard bard kit from before, but we're happy to see it come
and
back.
my inspiration die goes up to D8.
Oh yeah.
That
yeah.
also happens then.
Good,
that I forgot about in the other campaign when this happened last time for like 5 sessions.
I think Miss Mabel likes Caleb more than she likes me.
Yeah, that's
Aw.
we're all second human over here.
Right.
Everyone type ! Mabel in the chat. You'll get a little bit of information about our sweet little pupper.
Or just listen for like 5 more minutes
And she'll start yipping. So any spells in particular that you saw?
I took all the same spells that I had before, which are focusing more on like buffing and aids. Obviously, got to take Hypnotic Pattern. That's just too good.
Still in there, still
Yeah,
really good. I don't think anything changed with it. I think it's still incapacitated. Their speed is 0.
Either.
I haven't taken a deep dive on this, so don't quote me on it. But still very good.
other good ones. Aid, definitely taking that, and then also like
Aid did change a little, I think.
Suggestion though, I did use suggestion a lot. Now it didn't have to be a reasonable request, Caleb.
Really?
No. Now I could just be like, "Hey, Josiah, go lick the wall.
Go change your shorts."
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's
rude.
what happened.
Maybe.
Maybe. Who
We
knows?
don't know. Keep your guesses coming.
Wait, does aid? Yeah, second.
We'll say when we get back to my next level,
It
we'll
might not have
disclose.
actually changed. I might be thinking of something else. But perfect. We'll jump over to Drazad now for levels 5 and 6. And we'll cover 7, 8, and 9 all together after this.
Yeah.
When we circle back around.
Already there.
So 5 and 6 actually don't change a whole lot for Drazad. The biggest thing, which factors back into Channel Divinity Turn Undead. So I was watching a video specifically about cleric subclasses earlier, and they were talking about how wizards specifically. We're talking about how like Turn Undead with its changes and how it kind of like before it was any undeads under a certain challenge rating would just be like turned, like they would essentially be like vaporized.
Yeah.
But it sucked because, to be honest with you, unless you were like level 10 and above, it really didn't do anything.
I mean, it took care of minions, more or less.
Yeah.
It rarely took care of an actual threat.
Right, exactly. But now, whenever you use Turn Undead at 5th level, you can. It's called Seer Undead. So you roll a number of d8s equal to your Wisdom modifier and add the rolls together, and each undead that fails its saving throw takes radiant damage equal to the roll's total instead of being like turned essentially.
Which makes it more useful.
What level? What level is
Yeah,
that?
5th.
So at level 9, you get sous vide undead, right?
Period.
It's do the reverse here,
Chef's
right?
kiss.
Feed undead. That's good. And then at 6th level,
Yeah.
I get Soul of the Forge, which essentially is just resistance to fire damage. And while wearing heavy armor, I get a +1 bonus to my AC.
Yeah, that's your good old Forge Cleric coming through.
Yep.
Once again, I mean, still, I think pretty well and balanced with. I do think a lot of the new subclasses are more powerful than the old ones. But if there's a subclass you really like and you really want to play, it is technically backwards compatible. And I think that it's worth checking out.
Do you have the book?
I do
you don't
not in
believe
this
this?
room.
No, because I might have I found another bug, and I want to look at it between while they're doing.
It's in the office if you want to go grab it. It's on my fridge.
I will
My
say,
mini fridge
See if
with
you
all my
can make
fun
it back
drinks in
with
it.
this pair of shorts you have.
I will say sending did change. Just
Okay.
slightly, but ever so much that it actually might come in handy, and specifically would have come in handy before we went to fight your uncle, whose name is also escaping me.
Thrallin.
Thrallin, because it's not Wednesday, and I am not
What
in that
day?
mind space.
What day is the book available to everyone? The 17th?
The 17th is when it comes out to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're trying to find it on your character sheet right now, you may not have it unless you are a D&D Beyond subscriber.
Yeah.
I don't remember what tier, but Alex and I both are, and we have content
like,
sharing.
master one or
yeah,
something like that, yeah.
We I did it for the unlimited character slots because I
Yeah.
have way too many
Honestly.
than 5.
Yeah, I need to do that. I
Yeah,
had to delete
but
one.
Alex and I both are subscribers, and so we have content sharing on, so we
Yeah,
all can.
that's
see
how
it.
we're that's
That's
how
how
we're
we're
doing
able
this.
to do it.
I
In
like
case
to-
any of you are trying to figure it out.
I like to weigh all my characters out on their screen, be like, who dies?
The old sending, it was just you can send a creature to which you were familiar, which I specifically, if you remember, I asked you if somebody like described someone to me, would that be considered familiar?
Yeah.
Somebody, thank you, listen to me. Because now it
says
you
you
send a
have
short
met.
message to a creature you have met or a creature described to you by someone who has met it.
I
So
thought
it
that's
has
what
you have to
said
be at least like
before.
secondhand.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought it said the same thing before.
Nope.
Not in
You
this
had
language.
to have met them.
I had to have met them.
Yeah.
I had to be
Ah.
familiar with them.
And familiar was a
Which you
bit
would
too
interpret-
ambiguous.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
I
get
see.
sending now. That's
Do
what I
you?
was just looking at.
You do actually? Yeah.
So make sure to check the spell list. Some of them have changed. I will say they didn't change as much as Wizards said
I also
that they
get
did.
tongues.
In particular, the Ranger spell list still sucks hot dog water, but some other stuff did change. Some classes got access to extra spells. I think the Warlocks got a couple of extra spells. Not many though. So definitely check as you're building new characters. Make sure you didn't get access to anything that you might want,
Oh, tongues is nice too.
because it's entirely possible that you did. That said, let's jump over to Flora.
Yeah. So I just got 2 things. On 5th level, I got Wild Resurgence.
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. I'm sorry. I'm not fast enough.
Oh, I forgot that we're doing that over there. Yeah, so
Get it.
Wild Resurgence was something that I did not have before.
Yes.
It is a new feature. So on each one of my turns, once on each of your turns, if I have no uses of Wild Shape left, I can give myself one by expending a spell slot, no action required.
That's cool.
In addition, I can expend a use of Wild Shape, no action required, to give myself a first level spell slot. But I can't do it again until I finish a long rest.
Yeah.
Only
so,
first?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, the second one I kind of feel like is useful in a pinch, but the first half of this is what I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Being able to,
Give
if you're out of
myself a
wild
usage.
shapes, you've
Yeah.
been on a really long adventuring day, and you need to be a rat just one
Yeah.
more time. You just need that rat life
I
one more
just need to
time.
be
Just to
rat.
get kicked across the room.
Just to get punted
Yeah.
across the room. Even though your wild shape won't drop if you lose your temporary hit points now, it'll stay intact until the end of the duration. It's nice to know that you can do the druid stuff, even if you're not as tanky as you used to be. You can do all the cool infiltration things, the flying or swimming to locations you couldn't reach before. Regardless of the uses that you have left, at this point, you really can wild shape to your heart's content. You can do it pretty much as you want. And then at 6th level, you
6th
get
level, I get it's one of my features in my subclass, Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow. So I can invoke shadowy power, and that's the thing that in 30-foot radius sphere, we all get +5 bonus to stealth and perception checks.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a poor man's Liamon's tiny hut, which did get nerfed in the new rules.
Yeah, but we can also still combine them.
And you can use
maximum
both.
Power.
Which they have used to very nice effect.
Yeah,
Tiny Hut got
really
a little
good
bit
rest.
nerfed, but I feel like it also got a little bit better because of the people who are in it can still walk, and I think they balanced it well. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Cool. I think they could have taken it a little further, but I'm happy with where it landed.
As someone who uses it, I'm happy they didn't nerf it more, and I understand why they nerfed it what they did.
Well, perfect. Then let's jump over to back to Valoth here.
Going all the way up to 9 now.
Going all the way up to 9.
So nothing really changed at 9. I just got an ASI.
Yeah. You didn't get a feat or anything?
No, which I picked a feat. Yeah, sorry.
I see.
I picked linguist like I had before, but we were talking about how like I don't think I'll be able to get as many languages as I had before. Do you see it? Or why are you making that face?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Wizard doesn't get other... I'm like, why is it only showing an 8th level ability? You don't get something at 9th. You just get more spell slots.
I get more spell slots.
Yeah.
But because the thing we talked about earlier about Divination Savant, how it gives... No. Which one is it?
Oh, it's a level 10
Oh, yeah.
ability.
Divination Savant. Yeah. You get a free divination spell every time you get a new spell level.
Oh, that
so
one.
at 3rd, I got one that I forgot to take, which is when I found out that I have Sending, and I was like, I need to go check. So I took Sending with that, and then 4th level, you get something. Totally forgot what did I take with that one. I took divination. Locate creature, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what I took. I'm tired of Drazad not having what we need, so no.
He's doing all the locate spells.
No,
I'm doing myself.
But
How rude.
with 5th level, I can just look because that spell list is shorter.
Wow, I can't believe you're not ready already, Sam. That's crazy.
I literally
Wow,
just
can't-
finished doing
Can't
this.
believe this.
We're looking at your spells right now.
Yes. 5th level, I took Legend Lore.
Okay.
Um,
Which I don't think has changed.
It hasn't
He's
changed.
really coming for you. like what are you gonna do now?
I don't know. I got
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
now,
yeah.
now
Yeah.
you can prepare some and I can prepare some. So like we could, because I do have to prepare those. They're not ritual.
Yeah.
Look,
so,
he
yeah.
also threw him under the bus in our last campaign. I
did.
don't remember what about.
Last
but
session,
I
yeah.
opened, our last session, I opened my text with Caleb today and
Oh,
I said, damn, Valoth really threw you under the
I
bus.
don't remember what it was either.
I don't remember. I was like, he's ready to leave you behind.
But let's take a look at your feat that you chose.
Linguist, yes. Sorry, I was jumping all over the place.
It's okay.
So linguist, but we were talking about how I don't think I'll get as many languages as I previously had, and we kind of discussed it a little bit. I decided to kind of go all in that maybe after all this time, he's forgotten some of the older languages. Like maybe he can try to relearn them in some way, like we talked about in campaign or whatever.
Sure.
But I picked up Dwarvish and Giant.
Yeah.
As well as Draconic, which I had before in Old Valoth. But I picked up Dwarvish and Giant because even in the last session, I was like, can I kind of start to read? Because we've come across it a few times. I was really into the Umbric runes, which are a mix between Giant
Elvish and
and
Giant runes.
Elvish and Giant. So I figured
Yeah.
it might be thematic that maybe like this is marking him learning those, and because he hasn't used Primordial or Abyssal or Celestial, the other 3 that he knew.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great chance to highlight a feat that normally wouldn't get talked about in circles that are a little bit more focused on min-maxing, which there's nothing wrong with. But this, specifically in our campaign, and I think a lot of campaigns, brings a lot more value than what you might think it does in terms of, just the math of your abilities and attacks and stuff. Knowing Giant in our campaign is going to be a huge boon moving forward. You saw that in the last session. So, the fact that it's a half feat is great. They're all half feats, but now that they are all half feats,
And this was before too.
yeah, I think it's to say it again, it's opened up the chance for players to just
around.
take feats instead of taking ability score improvements every time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but feats are just so much more.
It's a
fun
little bit more
flavorful.
enticing.
Yeah.
And I mean, specifically, I took this one in the original campaign before we had the ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then we put the lock on the ship, and this feat also lets me just encode things.
Yeah.
And because I have a 20 in my intelligence now,
That made it very hard for
yeah,
people to
you
unlock.
needed to roll like a 24 intelligence check to try to decipher.
And they rolled a 26. Oh,
Yeah, or maybe it was a 25 because I have a +5.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
So cool. That pretty much finishes out Valoth, who is now fully transferred over to the 2024 rules. That didn't. I know we're doing 4 people all at the same time, but that didn't take very long. I was actually impressed with how easy that was, especially considering the wizard and the divination subclass itself didn't change all that much from the previous rendition. I feel like that was probably one of the easiest translations we had to make.
yes.
So Odd, let's jump over to you and see what's going on with your warlock bard multiclass. I'm so glad you stuck with that theme. Oh, I did it again. I went to 2014.
It was always going to be that theme for sure. When you started talking about languages, where do you select your language?
It would be
You know common, and then you get a language and
as part of your species.
your
I
species
believe.
now. And I think you already had one because
Oh.
yours said 2. If you scroll down to the bottom. you
Yeah,
have
so
2
yours
choices.
might have just
Oh,
given
okay,
you
there
2.
you go. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and you chose yours.
Well, I definitely need this one. I don't know about this one. I don't know. Yeah, I'll
You
keep
definitely you had Draconic before because I know you, me, and
this.
Rosado.
That's
Yes.
right. So I'll
So-
do this one.
Let's have a look at your
don't
7th
have
level
all
and
the
8th level.
Yeah. So on 7th level, on Bard. No, wait.
It would be, sorry, I see, 6th, 7th, 8th. I keep forgetting you have that first level in Warlock.
Yes.
So this is your 7th,
So-
8th, and 9th.
Yeah.
Character
So
levels.
the big thing is at 7th level, I gained extra attack.
Yep.
And much like the Swords Bard had where they could attack twice on their turn, but this one is spicier because they took a page out of the old what was the wizard Gish
Blade Singer.
Blade Singer, right?
Yeah.
And it's you can attack once, and then when you can attack twice on your turn, but in addition, one of those can be your cantrip attack. So.
And it's not, we clarified this before,
Yes.
it's not a bard cantrip.
Right.
It's any cantrip you have.
know.
So the Warlock levels might start to make a little more
Yes.
sense now.
So fighting might look like, swing one time and then blast with Eldritch Blast a couple times.
Yeah.
In addition to that, 7th level for Bard, I got Counter Charm.
Which is a lot better than it
Yeah.
used to be.
Now instead of like I have to choose when I'm going to do this to give you advantage on a charm effect, which I think Jorzad is only going to apply to you
Wait,
because
what?
they already have advantage.
Well, it's
against-
charmed or frightened.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it'll mostly apply to you, Jorzad.
It's now a reaction instead of having to basically
Correct.
premeditate when you're going to do it. And the old version, just like this one, only gave them, advantage on those saving throws. It didn't even say that they automatically succeeded. So just a lot of times it really felt like you were kind of burning an action for nothing.
For nothing.
This
So the DM could be like, haha, I'm not going to do it right now.
yeah, exactly. This new one makes a lot more sense. It's really what it should have been all along, but I'm excited to see it actually get used because I think this will come into play more than a few times.
And then lastly, I'm gonna get a feat.
Yep.
And for this level, I'm going to take the new spell sniper feat that says I get to increase my charisma by 1, which is gonna cap my charisma at 20.
Yep.
I get to bypass cover. I don't know how often we use cover for.
We do
things.
sometimes.
But now-
I think it's fairly rare, but now you can bypass it.
Yeah.
The old version actually said you could bypass cover. Period.
Even
which
full
made
cover?
Yeah, it made it
Oh, wow.
confusing though, and I'm glad
yeah.
I'm glad they clarified it because I don't think they meant what
Full
they
cover.
said.
Yeah.
My range increases for any of my spells at least 10 feet for any touch spells and 60 feet for any range spells.
It's any spell that has a range of at least 10 feet.
Right.
It increases by 60 feet.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is great.
So
for
your
long-
Eldritch Blast could be 180 feet.
180 feet. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
kind of
long ways.
insane.
But that is not what we're here for, people. We're here for casting in melee, where being within 5 feet of an enemy does not impose disadvantage on your attack rolls with spells.
Yeah. And you pointed this out to me on the break, so I got to give you props for this. I didn't fully understand what you were trying to do until you pointed me towards the rules glossary, and more specifically the prone condition. So earlier we hinted at Odd putting together a pretty impressive combo. And it involves the Shieldmaster feat knocking them prone, and then the fact that when someone has the prone condition, it now says an attack roll has advantage against that creature when the attacker is within 5 feet of you. It doesn't specify ranged attacks. So if you are doing like you said, your Eldritch Blast within 5 feet of somebody and you don't have disadvantage, you in fact have you have advantage on all your Eldritch Blast attacks right there, just blasting.
Yeah,
because that removes the disadvantage, so they don't cancel out anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's crazy cool. I love that.
this is why I kept seeing those Dragon Ball Z gifs of Trunks obliterating Frieza after he cuts them in half and then blasts them into pieces.
If you guys have never seen it, do go check out the version of that where they play it back in real time.
Yeah.
Instead of it taking like an entire episode to happen, you realize it happens in like 3 seconds, which is basically half a round of combat. I'd say that's like a turn.
And that's gonna wrap up Odd as we try and make him close to what he was, but now a little bit friendlier to everybody.
I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I really like where you're taking him, and we talked about where he's headed after this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how it goes. But Drazad, what do your last 3 levels look like? Oh yeah,
One more thing.
Yeah.
Spells.
Okay.
One additional spell that was added
Okay.
this go round that I'm gonna use, that I'm probably gonna use as part of like a opening round. Now that the feature of getting glowy eyes and wings and stuff is a bonus action. First round of combat will definitely involve Font of Moonlight, where it's 4th level spell. 20 foot of moonlight emanates from you in every direction, and you have resistance to radiant damage, which doesn't make that big a deal. But then your melee attacks, you get an extra 2d6 of radiant damage on every hit.
Yeah.
And as a reaction, you can blind somebody that did damage to you within 60 feet. So that's
Nice.
Yeah, take out archers and stuff with that.
What about
So,
you wanted to conjure minor elementals too, right?
I will not get that until Bard 10.
Got it.
So this will be the in place, and then
Until
when we
then.
get to Bard 10, that'll be the new hotness.
So I will say, for those of you in chat that may not be aware, conjure minor elementals is absolutely crazy. When this comes online, his build is going to be insane. Specifically, it more or less is a concentration spell that gives you an extra 2d8 damage on every weapon attack you land. What really gets crazy about it is when you scale it for every level above 5th.
Every level after the 4th, it's a 4th level spell.
Okay.
So every level upcast is extra 2d8 per hit.
Yeah.
That you're making.
A disclaimer, I mentioned some homebrew rules at the start of the stream. We did talk about it beforehand. We're going to be making that an extra 1d8 every 2 spell levels upcast.
That is correct.
Instead of 2d8 for every spell level, because a good friend, Treant Monk, made an entire video on how absolutely cracked it is. His math is much better than mine. If you want to check that out, I'll make sure to add a card here somewhere in post. But yeah, it's ridiculous. If you haven't already considered it, you should probably consider homebrewing it that way in your games. And this is coming from somebody that doesn't homebrew silvery barbs. So it's saying something. Anyway, now I think we can move on to Drazad there. I'm excited to see Odd come into his own as a Valor Bard as opposed to swords. And I think he'll play pretty pretty similarly. I don't think it'll be that different. So Drazatti, what do we got for 7, 8, and 9?
So I actually don't get anything other than like spell slots and stuff left for level 9. But for level 7, I get Blessed Strikes, which was basically now you have 2 options, but before it was just Divine Strike, where you could add a D8 to any weapon attack or cantrip spell damage.
Right.
Now you get either or, basically. So you get Divine Strike or Potent Spell Casting, which Divine Strike is 1d8 necrotic or radiant with an attack roll for a weapon, or Potent Spell Casting, which is what I took, which is you add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal with any cleric cantrip.
Yeah, and doesn't your Forge Cleric subclass basically give you Divine Strike anyway? Or did I misread that at some point? I might have.
It might, but I thought, hold on.
I'm going to double check that while I'm here.
No, Blessed Strike was just,
I might be misremembering, because I've actually never played a Forge Cleric.
Yeah, no, I think that was its own
Did
thing.
we start with a feat or something?
Yes, we did.
in the last one.
Yeah,
So the
Forge
origin feats have
Cleric
kind of replaced
at
that.
level 8 gives you Divine Strike, but I think that just became
Yes.
a base class feature
Yeah,
later. So
because
that's
it was
why
an
they're not
optional
including it
class
here.
feature.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So, I started with the Fey Touched feat. Can I still say I started with that?
It's not an
Not if
origin
you
feat.
have an origin.
So you have
Yeah.
to take it as one of your other ones if you.
yeah.
And so,
I had to do that with Warcaster.
like I said at the beginning of the stream, that was kind of one of the only debuffs that my characters were going to get in our campaigns. Simply because I allowed our characters to take a feat at level 1.
Right.
Now you're basically strapped to the origin feats, which I am in full support of. But yeah, that does mean you'll have
Yeah, I
one
like
less
the
feat
origin
probably.
And then at level 8, I do get another ASI or a feat. I'm still not 100% sure about this one.
Okay.
I keep going back and forth between a couple of them, but
Rune Shaper. This is an older feat, right?
that's actually the one that I keep going to for
Can I see the book?
flavor. But the only reason I would take this one, so in the rune magic thing, it says you can also invoke a rune inscribed on an object you are wearing or carrying and cast its associated spell without explaining. The entire thing is always referencing you using the runes. I would only take Rune Shaper if you allowed me to be able to inscribe the 2 runes that I would be able to know on other things that they would be able to use.
I'm actually
Go ahead.
not super sure.
And we can talk about it
Why would they?
later. and
That's
stuff.
weird.
Yeah, well, it's... Yeah, I don't know.
Good.
Because honestly, the main reason I was going to end up doing it was just because it's fun and it's giant runes, so like it makes sense with Drazad by
yeah.
all means. But also, I would be able to engrave maybe like a gem for someone.
And for reference, whether you decide to take this or not, this is one of the older feats. It's not in the new book. I just
Oh,
checked.
for me.
So, you may notice that it's not a half feat. It is a full feat. It's from the old books, and I guess it's important to point this out because the feats themselves you can grab from the old books too. You don't have to use only exclusively the 2024 stuff. Basically, it's just the stuff that's been reprinted gets replaced. So you're more than welcome to take that. I think because it's a full feat, you'd be missing out on a half feat. I would be okay with you using it on other stuff. But we'll talk more about that afterwards. We at least know, and this is a good example to show chat, that you can take the older feats too. You're not strapped just to the stuff that's in the new book.
Yeah, no, and they all work with it as far as like the vernacular and stuff goes.
Any spells that you wanted to highlight or mention?
Not really. The only thing that I would like to bring up, maybe this will change in like, I don't know, 2026 or something when they release new rules. Somebody out there is listening to me clearly because they changed sending. Can somebody please make Shouldn't the 5th level and up cleric spells not be $1 billion plus to use? That'd be great.
No, you gotta tithe. That's the entire point. You have to tithe if you want God to
wonderful.
answer.
You can always upcast
I'm gonna
cheaper spells into 5th level.
Drazan's gonna have to start getting levels of exhaustion and going on the corner at night.
God only
Like-
listens to
Like-
rich people, man. That's just kind of how
yeah,
it goes.
apparently.
So let's wrap things up by checking out Flora and seeing what she's got going on for 7, 8, and 9. I'm almost there. I'm so close. Right. Oh God, it's got to load. Give me a second. Spinning wheel of death. Oh God, there it is. Oh no, I messed up. Oh wait. Okay.
How's the new shirts, dude? You say them?
Okay.
Hey. I can't find my homebrew feat that we made, but I can work on that.
Yeah, we
later.
can do
I
that
can't find my
later. That's
homebrew
fine.
spells either. They're not populating
so-
right. for
Might be a
mine, so-
D&D Beyond
For
thing.
the first time, I actually get something at 7th level. It's a
Okay.
new thing, Elemental Fury. I can either do Primal Strike or Potent Spellcasting. I picked Potent Spellcasting.
Okay.
Nice.
So I can add my Wisdom mod to the damage I deal with any Druid cantrip.
Yeah. Can definitely
that's
be
good.
useful, especially for things like Shillelagh
Yeah.
specifically.
Yep.
And it'll incentivize cantrips saving those spell slots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will also say, speaking of Shillelagh, it is available for you to take with Magic Initiate Druid. Can be very good on other classes like a wizard that, wants to whack people with his staff.
Yeah.
But I will also
Martial
say
wizard.
the Primal Strike feature is
It's
pretty
really
cool too.
But I have, so the reason I'll talk about why I took one over the
Yeah,
other. The
sure.
reason I took Potent Spellcasting is because it will always be a 5.
Yeah.
Whereas I could add 1 or 8 if
Yeah.
I took the other one. It's a 1d8 that you would add. And so I'm like, I could roll a
Yeah.
1.
A little bit of higher risk.
It's also
Yeah,
it's
but,
also
like, I would
Higher
always do
reward.
5.
Yeah.
So what the Primal Strike says, because I don't want to change it because it might mess something up like it did earlier, is basically when you're in wild shape, your attacks deal an extra amount of damage. I think it's 1d8, and you can do that once per turn.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a good way to like beef up your wild
Yeah,
shape if
but
you're
this
really
is
relying on that for
anytime
damage. This
I-
is anytime you cast a Druid cantrip or
No, anytime I deal damage.
damage with one.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So definitely both useful options depending on how you want to play the class.
Well, especially
I think
with
this is a
your,
cool one
your
for Flora.
homebrew Ionic form where you can cast verbal. I don't know if there's any cantrips that are verbal only.
No, there aren't.
No.
Still though.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
Vicious Mockery.
Well, not. Yeah. You could dip into Bard and take. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so
8th level you took Fey Touched, which is
8th level,
still
I took
very
Fey
good.
Touched. I almost took Skill Expert or Skilled. I almost took Skilled.
Almost did that too.
Skilled's pretty cool.
The reason I didn't is because then I realized that I didn't have my Fey Touched anymore, which I started I started this character with Fey Touched.
Yeah, which made a lot of flavor sense for you, and it also was just a good spell.
And I used that feature
Yeah.
a lot, so I was like, I have to have that.
And I did notice you picked up Hex this time. Did you pick that up last
I had
time?
Hex last time.
Okay.
Just
That's-
don't use it much.
I don't use it much, but
It's-
I did have it.
It's a decent concentration spell that you could use to kind of beef up your wild shapes as well, since basically you're putting a curse on a creature, wild
And-
shape, and then
Yeah,
every...
it's because it's bonus action too, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a wild
Bonus
shape
action
now.
Yep.
So hex is an action.
Hex
I think
an
Hex is
action.
a bonus
it's a
action.
bonus
It's a
action.
bonus
and
action.
then-
Ooh.
So it kind of misfires there a little
Well,
bit,
I
but
mean, yeah.
I actually have a lot of bonus action stuff now.
you might want to start looking at some more action spells to balance it out.
Oh, I have a lot of those too.
Especially since you never used hex, you could swap out hex for.
Yeah, I mean, I could swap out Hex for something else. Especially if it's bonus action. Now that wild shaping
yeah.
is a bonus action.
Yeah,
I'm so confused.
The only thing I had left, I was figuring out my feats,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to go in and do my equipment, but like I'll do that later.
Well, and I'll use this moment to ask chat if you guys had any final questions about any of the rules. I feel like I've become pretty well learned since getting this book at Gen Con and poring over it and making several videos on it. Feel free to ask me anything. I've got it right here before we wrap up the stream, and I'll ask you guys. Did y'all have any final remarks or anything?
Well, I was just
you
gonna say
wanted to add?
final guesses for
Oh,
my
right.
shorts.
for the
yeah.
change in pants.
We did
there.
give a hint. Justin asked if it had anything to do with plumbing. I said not plumbing, but it did have
Very
in the
close.
bathroom.
I thought it might have to do with plumbing. Which I guess we can kind of get right
We
into.
can-
have a
we can give the
backstory.
answer.
So
Yeah.
Freddie is the best boy in the whole wide world, and he is only
Freddy's
ever,
our dog.
Sorry, Fritz. He has only
That's not my nickname.
Fritz has only ever peed.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll let you guys get it out.
No, we're good. We're
Okay.
good. We did it.
Fritz rarely has accidents in the house, and he has only ever peed on one person. And that one person is Sam.
Yeah. So he's done it twice already.
Twice.
This time, when we went to break, I really had to go to the bathroom. So I jumped up and I run to the bathroom as soon as break cut. And I go in there, and as I open the door, I see one of the dogs run out at the corner of my eye. I don't know if it's Mabel or Fritz. I was like, whatever. I turn the light on, shut the door, whatever.
And while he's doing this, I went and walked them. So they went outside.
So I rush to the toilet, do my business, come back into to here, and when I sit down here, I feel wet on the bottom of my shorts. And I look, and I'm like, what is this? Well, if you are a longtime viewer, you may remember the time that the bathroom flooded. So I was like, oh no, is the bathroom flooding again? So I jump up, and I run back to the bathroom, and I look on the ground, and I'm like, no. But then I move.
We have a squatty
They have a squatty potty. So I move the squatty potty, and I see yellow liquid on the ground. And I go, oh, and then I put it all together that the dog rushed out. I was like,
So, long story short, Sam got peed on again, but it wasn't himself.
it was a trap. It was a well-laid trap by
Fritz
Fritz.
got
this time.
him again.
And he never pees
No.
in the house. But
No.
he did today, and it got on Sam's shorts.
So
Our favorite change so far, I think we had Zelda, but a girl asked.
yeah, favorite change in the new rules has to be Monk. Everything to do with Monk. They did a great job with
Yeah.
it. I wish they'd done as good a job with Ranger.
Ranger.
I think they're asking
But-
us our favorite change
Yeah.
about our characters.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's good too. Yeah.
Mine is bonus action wild shape.
Yeah.
I really like the free divination. Because
Yeah.
like I mentioned, like
You didn't get a whole lot of changes, but I think that is one that will come into play.
it just makes sense because they're cheap. I don't know if they are still even cheaper to copy into your spellbook anymore, but
They aren't. I think they replaced that with
it's
this.
just so much better because
Yeah.
it felt
Now
bad.
you're not having to rely on the DM to give you stuff.
Well, and you not taking them hoping that you run into it. When it's
Yeah.
like, I am a divination wizard, it's thematic for me to have divination spells, but I'm incentivized to not take
really
them.
represents
Yeah.
Oh,
quality
yeah, I
of
see
life
what you're saying.
improvement.
Yeah.
The fact that Divination Wizard was pretty much good as is, and they still found room to kind of tweak that and just make it better.
Yes.
Two things, and both of them, I would say would be spells. Actually,
Yeah.
The Font of Moonlight and later Conjure Minor Elementals. Both of them, even with the toned down version of Conjure Minor Elementals, that's going to be a great spell. And
Yeah.
it's also going to be like a go-to for setup round.
Absolutely.
For a lot of people. But previously, like with Swords Bard, they didn't have a lot of spells that supported like doing melee attacks and stuff like that.
You really had to multi-class for that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because now that's available, and that kind of ties into the other fact that one thing we didn't talk about today because we're not 10th level yet was the when they get magical secrets, now bards can just take whatever spell
Yeah.
they want out of druid, cleric, wizard, and even when they gain a level, they can replace a spell with
Yeah.
any spell they
So
want.
you're
from
getting
those.
a lot more magical secrets than you
A
used to.
lot.
They basically took what
Yeah.
Bard was doing and turned it up to 11.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for next level 2 because I get Divine Intervention,
Mm-hmm.
and they changed that up for clerics as well.
They did. I saw
Now,
that.
dude,
Yeah.
it's oh my god, it's so great. So now Divine Intervention, instead of being like, please help, if as a cleric,
Build?
if you use Divine Intervention and use the magic action, because that's what it's called now.
Casting spells and
Yeah,
stuff.
whenever
It's
you
called
cast a
the
spell.
magic action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certain spells will say you can use a magic
Activating
action.
a magic
Yeah.
item. Yeah, that sort of thing.
You get any spell level 5 and below. If you use Divine Intervention to cast the spell, it negates its material cost.
Hey,
So basically-
there it is. Somebody listened to you again. You just said that.
Yeah.
Once per long rest, you essentially at level 10 get
Yeah.
a free like revivify basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
is
don't
not
need a
bad.
diamond.
No, you were asking for it.
That's what I'm saying.
They gave it to
Somebody's
you.
listening to you.
Ask for it and you shall receive.
Somebody, but now we can just wait. Let's just whenever we get back to the campaign, let's just kill old boy and take his second diamond. We ain't got to protect him no more.
That's what he's like. I want my first diamond back. I'm like, we could just kill him. We take all the diamonds.
So, with all that said, and with all the questions having been answered there, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. If you're interested as to what these characters are capable of now that they're transitioned to the 2024 rule set, check out our next session. We are playing probably on Wednesday if a hurricane doesn't hit
Yes,
us.
we do have a storm coming, so
Yeah.
Yes.
y'all keep an eye on our
Oh, shoot, I
Discord
forgot
and
about
the
that.
community
Yep.
post, like the community tab in YouTube. I'm sure we'll announce it, but
Yeah.
we don't want anyone driving in it, so
Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any of our future live streams. And if you're watching this later, leave us a comment. Let us know what your favorite thing about the new 2024 rules is. Maybe there's something we missed. I'd love to hear about that.
we did have a couple new people in the chat too. A couple people asking
Yes.
for like a fault, like a TLDR on the campaign.
Yeah,
We
Leslie popped
do-
in.
Yeah, we do have some recap videos. So
Yes.
Several.
we have every 10 episodes we do a recap. We are on 46 now.
We are on 45 will be the next
45
session.
will be the next one.
And
so
so
you'll only be
episodes
5
1 through 40 are all
Yeah,
covered.
So you'll only be 5 episodes behind.
I think each of the recaps is only like 5 to 20 minutes long.
yeah.
Most of them are under 15.
I like that
so,
we
yeah.
are switching on a 45 too. Like
Yeah.
we timed that well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys enjoyed yourselves, make sure to like the video. And until next time, go out there and make some chaos.
Bye.